Hello, everyone. I want to make sure. Hey, Moral Fat. Hey, Plush. How's it going, guys? I want to make sure I sound good. Everything's ready to go. I'm going to finish the Romitas files today. And then been prepping my launch for my Pigman launch. Making a number of ads, just getting my covers settled down, done well. We left off here yesterday, guys. This is John Romitas Sr. It's a hell of a Spider-Man. It's really, really good. I guess I can make it bigger here. You guys can see that on your end. If you hear something, sorry. Some idiot blasting music. We'll see. Okay, so let me just keep going from here. This is another ad that Romita did. It says fourth cover, Spidey Super number 23. He did a number of covers to the Spidey mag, I guess a more younger audience, friendly. A number of these covers, I didn't even know that they existed until a little while back, so I thought that was pretty cool. He also did this. Let me try to get the full image in here. Okay, I got it. Okay, that's pretty cool. Sandman to Mike, John Romita. I'm assuming a commission. I'm assuming. I haven't seen this one. I wonder what this is from. I don't know. A little more simple than usual for Romita. His Doc Ock wasn't that fat, so he made him a little fatter, the way Ditko used to. This is fun. A Christmas type thing here. Can you see it all? I guess so. Okay. That's pretty fun. And again, he was trying to do, which was McFarlane, people assume that he did the spaghetti style webbing. That was Mike Golden on one of the covers with all the superheroes late 70s, early 80s. So that was his thing. And McFarlane just, took it. And then he also made all the excess lines. Look how clean that art is, that building. It's nice, very nice. Gwen. Speaking of Gwen, there's a rumor. Hey, Max. There's a rumor that Gwen Stacy's coming back in May. They have her grave and they have a shadow looking over it, and they're saying May 2025. And someone wrote on X, it was supposed to be the idea that the 3 or 4 people that can't come back, Bucky, we know that. We know what happened there. Bruce Wayne's parents, it's always coming back to some extent now. It's some Elseworlds now, and the absolute Batman, I think his mother's alive, I think. And now supposedly Gwen. I don't know. I don't know. How? And then J. Michael Straczynski wrote that one creepy story where she was involved romantically with Norman Osborn. They had kids, and they grew up really fast because of some, I don't know, pretty ugly from what I remember. I don't think I held out for that. I think I gave up after a bit because Jeremy Jr. left. Michael Deodato, if that's how you pronounce it, Michael Deodato Jr. started drawing it. I didn't care for his stuff really, not his Spider-Man work at least. And I saw that, I was like, that's pretty ugly. Pretty ugly what they're trying to do here. I wonder if this was part of the Avengers that the Rob Liefeld of writing comics, Brian Michael Bendis, wrote, that Jeremy Jr. drew, which was forgettable. I got maybe a few of those and I was done. I didn't like it. Okay, these were the Spidey Superstores. I got a load of these covers drawn by John Romita Sr. I'm thinking it's in the 70s, but I'm not 100% sure. But they're really well done. I haven't seen these. I got them a little while back, I guess a few years ago. I added them to my files. Spidey Super Stories. And I remember also, John Byrne, he's an asshole on his threads. I do remember that. I used to go on the Byrne Robotics place. Hey Matt, howdy fellas, this new comic day, what you get? Nothing, Matt. I even checked. I checked in. Something popped out, but I was looking for Conan by Roberto Della Torre. I didn't see that, so I looked for some other stuff. Nothing really. That's long gone, the days of getting a stack on Wednesdays, for me at least. Even when I go to a comic shop now, I go there, I spend a while, and sometimes I leave with nothing. Sometimes I find something really, really cool, like I think Jeff Smith, the caveman stories that he had, at least along those lines. I haven't got them yet, haven't read them yet. I got a stack of those, two volumes. But what'd you get, Matt? But yeah, this is Spidey Super Stories, and these are fun covers. The Electric Company. Okay, Marvel Comics and the Electric Company for a younger audience, clearly. They have no dates here. Again, I'm assuming the 70s or 80s. They don't have the dates like they usually do in the corners. And it's pure Romita. And he's signing every one of them by himself, so it's just pencil and ink by him. Again, a little more friendly, open art, I guess. That's the idea here. Trademark is right next to Spider-Man. It's really good. Medusa's there, saving that kid. Huh. The Shocker. Spider-Man's, I guess, trying to stop the guy from being electrocuted from the Shocker. I remember the Shocker in the movie. There was one guy who was a Shocker in Far From Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming, where he was telling Keaton's Vulture off and threatening the possibility of maybe telling his family what he does. As in he's a criminal. And Keaton, if you remember, zapped him, thinking he's just gonna knock him out, but he disintegrated him. And then he gave this. He's a black actor. He's a good actor. He was in Fargo TV series once. Took place in the 70s. He became the Shocker. And it was funny because when he first used the power of the Shocker, he said, "Damn." He was like impressed with it in that way, which was funny. He was like, "Damn." And he actually hurt Spider-Man, who was wearing his homemade costume, not the Stark tech. Okay. Matt says he got Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Feral for the kiddo. Spawn, Fantastic Four, Facsimile, the facsimile. How do you pronounce it, guys? They have like the new cover. Well, it's new prints of old comics that they look exactly like they were with all the ads. Bug Wars, Geiger, Witchblade, Ultimate Wolverine for me. Ultimate Wolverine, is that the one with the mask? I did see that. Titans, Conan maybe on hold because of Diamond stuff. Huh. Okay. I hope they're good. I just, for myself, it's just tough to get out there. And one thing I want to note here also, it's still the light blue costume on the facsimile. Okay, yeah. The facsimile. Thanks. It's the light blue on the suit, which I don't like. I just don't like that. I like the original black and red that Ditko made, that Kirby did on the cover. A Man Called Plush says to Matt, nothing new on hand per. But when Winnick's Caper is on my back burner along with some Dark Horse, The Shadow. I guess Dark Horse is publishing The Shadow again? Okay, per se. Yeah, so this is a more open art. You could tell it's friendlier, more welcoming art for a younger audience, clearly. Even with the, spelling of the Spidey, also the name. The reason why I brought up Byrne, I didn't just bring it up to trash him. The guy is an all-time great cartoonist. That's it. I reread, the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, FF, and then right after that, I reread all the Byrnes. He's great. Great X-Men, great FF, even Alpha Flight. Superman it was good. It wasn't as great, I guess, as it could have been for whatever reason. I think he had a problem with editorial, but then again, he always had a problem with editorial. Anyway, he's a prickly guy. He really is, even on his own website. It's like someone wrote Spidey once. He was like, "Ugh, don't ever say that." It's like, okay, what's the problem? It's like far too sensitive for things like that. And also, I will say this once, guys. I'm not going to say it again. It's like, okay. He was such an asshole. It was tough to even stay on that thing. I got banned from there, criticizing him for his shit attitude. He also drew a pretty bad Batman and Robin, and I redrew it. I got to say, the anatomy was better, mine is not, and I got some pushback on that. I guess it wasn't the nicest thing to do, but I think it was his nasty attitude, and then he's like, "Hey, someone's paying you good money for this. Could you make the anatomy a little better? You put the head, you made the heads too big. The anatomy's off. If you take the cape away, it looks really wrong." So I redrew it with that in mind. Byrne drew the best Wolverine face. He did. His Wolverine is the standard. You deviate from there, it's just not as good. It's just not, the best. And also the hair on the body. He's the one who really brought that, made him to look like a beast, with all the hair. Like when he was in that cage. Also when he was right out of the showers in the Moon, when they were about to fight for Jean. He comes out of there and his mask is hung up on this one thing, and you see all the fur, all the hair. It's just great. It's great. And the way he designed the hair, the brows, everything about it. Excellent. That's the standard. And then he came back and did some of the Madripoor stuff, and it was okay. Hey, Art. Man, talk about a bad inker for Byrne. Jansen. Klaus Jansen was a terrible inker for Byrne. He stripped all of the fine detail out of the work with his roughness. It didn't look right. And then Byrne ended up inking the last issue that he did of Wolverine. And it was just better. It was like, harkening back to the old X-Men. Yeah, so these are fun, a little lighter. These are clearly for a younger audience, Electric Company. It's interesting. You see this right here. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull that up a little. If you see, I hope I am pulling it up. That's a little lower than usual, and that's a little lower to the point. If it's meant to be the nose and mouth, as I always believe it to be, it looks like a way too low on there. But again, that's just the specificity. It's like once you set it up as good as he did, it's tough to accept anything else besides that. Matt says, I like when they drew the giant hair on Wolverine, especially when the artist drew the sharp teeth and spit when he was snarling. Yeah, they put the canines were really, really long in some of them. It looked good. Made him look like a werewolf almost, like a halfway. Like you look at Wolf, the movie with Jack Nicholson, that halfway point, because he was, if you remember the movie, he was getting all the benefits and the power of the wolf. At first, his hair was growing back. He was looking leaner. He was looking healthier. He can see better without his glasses and so on. He could hear better. He was gaining a wolf's powers. And eventually he turned full on, but those moments sometimes you look at it, it's like, damn, a little like Wolverine. and he had, clearly the teeth. Like when the guy is about to rob him, he goes, "How much you want?" He goes, "I got $100 on me. Would you take five?" Something like that. Tears him apart. But he was a little too old to play Wolverine clearly at that point. But a younger Jack Nicholson with that kind of hair, just on a drawing level, someone could use that as a model also. Yeah, so I'm just going through. That's nice. Shanna. Very, very simple. And again, he was clearly going less finished, like a really simple, open, like almost like a coloring book style of this art. But it's all good. Spider-Man from every angle, he understood Romita, that he set up this architecture of the webbing. From every angle, you could see the way he's doing it. Like that goes there, and that goes there. And this goes wraps around, and it's awesome. The nose again, right there. The mouth. It's awesome. Man Called Plush says Jack and Wolf looks exactly like Wolverine in the #1 cover of Claremont and Miller's solo. It's funny you say that because I believe, and maybe I asked Joe Rubenstein once, I think, on Facebook, or I had a little interaction with him because I assumed he had inked this one ad for Born Again that Mazzucchelli did. It had that brushwork, similar brushwork to the way Joe Rubenstein did, and he said no. But I believe Miller used Clint Eastwood as a model for Wolverine in that series, and it's interesting because you look at Hugh Jackman sometimes, some images of him looks a little like a younger Clint Eastwood. You look at him, it's like, okay, I can see that. He has the height, he has he has a look. Nose is maybe a little longer, but there's something about him. He does resemble Clint Eastwood a little when he was younger. But yeah, Jack Nicholson and Wolf, when he was halfway, that first night he was out, when he was chasing that deer, was pretty damn good. Art says, why does it say Falcon? There's clearly Captain Un-American. That's right. Look, man, I just saw something about that. It's 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a rotten score. And that's with 40 reviews. Think about this also. There are some leftists who will absolutely lie and say it's good, even if they don't like it because he's black. It's a fact. We know that we know they do this. But it's clearly so bad that even some of them are like, I can't like it. I can't say I like it even. And Marvel and Disney don't have the cachet they once did. People can now say, you guys suck. There's something to that. And the idiot, Anthony Mackie, as soon as look, I had no interest. I don't think he could fill up the suit. I don't think he has a stature. I don't think he has the gravitas. I don't think he has the height or the build even. He doesn't bust his ass when it comes to working out. You could tell. And I think Frog Tony can, respond to like, I think it looks good. And, I think what he said was taken out of context and exaggerated. I said, no, not at all. Not at all. I think it was, he said that one of the things Captain America should represent is America with contempt. I don't care where he was. He was in Italy, so what? And then the next, when it comes out, because I think it was a few months ago, and now when it came out and it was a news story and it hurt the box office, he says, I'm an American patriot. I love my, I never heard him say that prior to that. Did you guys ever hear Anthony Mackie say, I'm a patriot, love the country? No, he only said it for promotional purposes, period. So what he meant was what he said in Italy. What he didn't mean was that he's a patriot. So bullshit. Okay, so art. Damn, even the establishment shows are down. JEC says I watched a leftist review saying it was a mess. Okay, Frog Tony just says BS for attention. I don't know enough for Frog Tony about that. I hope he doesn't. I hate people who do that. But look, man, there's also something that your boy Zach is doing where it's like nothing that what do you call that group? As he calls them, the clowns, the zeros, whatever. Nothing they do is legitimate. Look, man. Uh, I I used to I used to watch Critical Drinking more. I don't think he's like these guys. I just don't think so. I don't think he doesn't see all the movies and just goes out there and says so. I think a guy like Yellow Flash absolutely would just bullshit all this because the guy's got nothing, nothing. Nerdrotic guy. I mean, look, man, they outed themselves. I don't remember Critical Drinker pushing Isom. I don't remember him doing a lot of the bullshit that these guys do. But I don't like also you know what? The zeros don't like it, so therefore it has to be maybe good. That's bullshit too. That's a bullshit attitude also. Just individually like it or don't. I have no interest in watching this. And then when Mackie said that, I had like a negative 20 or 30 interest. Zero, like a negative. I don't want a guy who's playing Captain America to trash America like that, to trash character like that, and then say, you know what? Yeah, I'm getting this great honor, and I don't give a fuck. It's like, and now he's talking about how he's the leader of the Avengers and he's gonna pick his own Avengers now. It's like, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think this is gonna bomb. It looks like the critics even say it sucks. It's a problem. It's a real problem. And again, he doesn't have, if you had maybe, I don't know, a better actor, maybe who played it and happened to be black. Maybe. Not this guy. Not for Cap. Just not. It's not working. It just doesn't work. Matt says, yeah, the suit and helmet look ridiculous, and their excuse is he did take up the mantle in comics, but Bucky took it first. Yeah. The guy who plays Bucky would have been a great Captain America. He is from that era. He's like Cap in that way. He has that pedigree. He was first the Cap in the comics, and then after that. And they made, if you recall, those rat bastards, Nick Spencer and some other rats, and the leftist Alex Ross. He's such a piece of shit leftist. Great painter. What a piece of shit leftist. He can't wait to do things like this. He made Black Captain America Falcon punching Steve Rogers. Do you understand? As if Steve Rogers, a Nazi, as if he's Hitler. On the cover. Nasty shit like that. Alex Ross is such a whore also when it comes to politics. He had Biden as Uncle Sam. Come with me if you want to live, telling America. Joe Biden. He made Putin and Bush kissing. He made Obama with a big O on his chest. He's probably had an orgasm himself, Alex Ross. He's such a flabby leftist, but a great painter. And I recognize that. I got books of his. I can separate it. It's like Alan Moore's a piece of shit. I have some special editions of Watchmen. Absolute Watchmen. I have Watching the World. I think it's like what is it? Something. Anyway, I will still get those things, and I can separate it. Let's see. Art says, Mackie ain't got main character energy at all. At all. Bucky as Cap would have been the perfect progression of a story. It would have been. And he would have, been able to redeem himself a little more if he did a lot more good. Because the guy's got this, guilt, no matter if he was brainwashed. As he tells Cap, I still did it. I still did those things. And it's stuck in his head. He could have redeemed himself. It would have been a far more dramatic way to go about it. And he'll look like Cap. I mean, he's a handsome guy. Anthony Mackie's not. He looks like a gremlin. I mean, he looks like shit. And he's, again, I think he works out. He probably punches up his biceps, and that's about it. Because you see him, he's flabby. He's not cut up. He probably won't go shirtless in here like Chris Evans did. Chris Evans, for all his bullshit, commie bullshit on X, the guy was a great Captain America. and he kept the integrity, meaning he didn't wink and nod, say, "Yeah, guys, I'm playing this." No, he played it straight. He was great. That's a standard, and if you can't match that standard, it doesn't matter what color you are. If you can't match that standard, fuck out of here. You're gonna fuck up the movie. And then you got the Red Hulk, and you have the leader, and I think you have Betty Ross in the new. It's like, is this a Hulk movie? Guest starring Cap? It's like, what? And you got the absolute hack that is Harrison Ford. He's such a whore. He's such a bitter bitch. All those interviews, it's like, well, he's such a whore. He does all these movies, doesn't give a shit of the quality of them, clearly. He's 80-something years old. He's just an absolute hack. And he's been a hack for a long time. You could almost watch him on Return of the Jedi looking at his watch. He's like, is it time? He was so bad in there. Terrible. For a long time. Anyway, Man Called Plush says Clone Saga also happened in comics. That didn't turn out so well. Yeah, that's right. Donaldist, hello to all Bosch fans, if there are any. Thanks, Donaldist. Max says, yikes, didn't know Ross was that brain dead. Ross as in, Alex Ross, yes, indeed he was. Terrible. Look at it. I mean, when Obama came out, he made him as like a Superman with a big O on his chest. He did, again, he trashed the right. Anyone on the right trashes, probably Trump. I haven't seen him do Trump. He probably did. But he trashed Bush. I mean, Bush is a piece of shit. Historically, he is. He sucked on Islam. He didn't annihilate the jihadists, which he should have. He also said out the door, I destroy the economy in order to save it. It's like, you're retarded. You get the fuck off the stage. And I'm glad that he has. These ex-presidents, get off the goddamn stage. That Carter whore was on the stage for decades. And you got these idiots on the right. He was a nice guy. No, he wasn't. He was a piece of shit. He hated the country. He unleashed the jihad on America. He was a communist. He loved dictators. He couldn't wait to suck up to them for decades with his stature as an ex-president. Piece of shit. But, Ross is terrible. Ugh, he's such a leftist whore. Matt says that they made Steve Rogers a Hydra Nazi sleeper agent in a big Marvel event a few years ago. Yes, they did. And the idea was that he was always a Nazi. He was always Hydra. Always. And he just came out, after all these years, right? Pretending to be this patriotic superhero. And then the word is, I heard about it. I couldn't get those. I mean, the guy, Nick Spencer, is a Nazi-crat who works for the Democrat Party. He worked for one of these scumbags in Washington. That's where he's coming from. A real, whore when it comes to leftism. And so he projected onto Cap what he is and what his whole party is. The National Socialists, because that's what they are. We have an enemy within called the Democrat Party. It's the National Socialist Party. That's what it is. And they're National Socialists. That's what Nick Spencer is. And they project that onto Cap. And the word is, from my understanding, is that the Cap that is now in the comics was created by the Cosmic Cube as some kind of ideal version of Cap. Because the real Cap has always been a Nazi. This is sickening stuff. This is when the left, and this is where they go. They have no line they won't cross. Nothing. There's no line. It's pure nihilism. So that's the case. That the Cap in the comics now is a fake, is a created version from the Cosmic Cube. I don't know who did it. I don't know how it went about. I don't care. But that's what I heard. That's sick. The decades upon decades of Cap being Cap and the Avengers comics, in that part where his all of his possessions, when the Masters of Evil attacked the Avengers in the mansion that Roger Stern wrote and John Buscema drew, Cap is shedding a tear over all of his possessions being destroyed by these savages. Those things are gone now. It's like, what the hell? Cap coming out of the ice, I guess they saved a Nazi. They made him into an Avenger. Terrible. It's really evil stuff. But that's their way. They're nihilists. They destroy. Destroy, destroy, destroy. And that's why they never put a patriot to write Cap. They never get a patriot to write. They always get communists to write him, as they always get Muslims to write Miss Marvel. You know, give me a shot at Miss Marvel. I will write her, right? I will have her, because if Marvel concedes the idea, it's not concede, but if they push the idea that the jihadists are, perverting Islam, right? Okay, I got it. So I'll have her fight the jihad. Yes or no? Take her powers and go fight these guys who are quote unquote perverting Islam. But they don't go that far. They're like, yeah, but we don't want to touch it at all. We just want to make Islam look good. That's it. And if I ever get, I won't. But if I ever did in some fantasy universe, I would make her leave Islam. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. Of course, I wouldn't let it happen, but, there is fantasy, right? Egon the Dragoncock says, Zach is also saying that he is purposely trying to lose viewers on purpose and lead those who actually want to talk comics. Has he said that? And I'm sorry, but it's so tough to listen to him. He has that fruity voice, like a lisp. I don't know what it is, but it's like, hey guys. It's like, it's just tough, man. I listened to him years ago. He trashed Pigman, sight unseen, story unread, just trashed it and said, this is stupid. And I know that from what I gather, he knocked up some Muslim when he was overseas with the military. He has a Muslim daughter who has a headscarf. It's like, why does your daughter have a headscarf in America? Why? Because her mom wants it? Talk her out of it. Don't do that. Don't burden her with that shit as an American. I don't know. Anyway, he trashed it, and I was like, okay. I lost respect for him flat out. I wanted him to read it, and he also asked for advice for Jawbreakers when he first did it, and there was something in there where it was some drawing that he had where two guys with a tree stump or something, and it looked like one guy was behind him banging him, and I said, I don't think you want that to be that, to go that way as a little. So I said, and he never got back. So I appreciated what he was doing. I do bring attention to this stuff. I think he handled some things terribly. Whatever anxiety he has, he should have goddamn went to Joe Rogan. He should have went on there. He would have been. He would have really expanded the idea of Comicsgate and this whole, persecution of non-leftists in the mainstream media of comics. It would have been great. And then supposedly he got back to me. Hey, I do want to be on like later, and they said nah. He had the moment and he blinked. Not good. And again, I try to listen to some of the stuff that he was saying about, what's the guy who killed himself? Comics kayfabe. I forgot his name. Someone in the chat probably remembers. But he was saying that they murdered him, and that's a stupid take. It just really is. It takes his own will away from him. It takes willpower away from him. It takes the fact that he's responsible for his own actions away from him. Now, this guy was married to the idea of being part of the crew, part of the clique, part of the mainstream comic book universe, right? Fantagraphic Books, publisher stuff. He called himself a outlaw cartoonist. Like, bro, you're being published by publishers, relatively mainstream publishers, not Marvel and DC, but Fantagraphics is pretty mainstream. How outlaw can you be? Try draw Muhammad, But anyway, he was saying they murdered him. I don't like that language. It's just not true. By his hand, he took himself out. That's pussy move. That's a pussy move right there. He could have said, you know what? My crew completely abandoned me. I know who they are now. And let me contact EBS. You know what I mean? Even though I trashed them. Let's see. Let's see what they got. Let's see if they would even take me. But they never would have read my comics. I sent them my comics. Pigman, Table for One, when they were doing kayfabe, him and Jim Rugg. And they never got back. I did, challenge him in the letter that I sent them. I said, look, I like your show. It's fun. Some good breakdowns of art here and there. But, don't call yourself an outlaw cartoonist. Please. Just don't. That's bullshit talk. It's just not real. I said, draw Muhammad, and then you could talk to me about being an outlaw cartoonist. Okay, because that's literally, it flies in the face of all the quote-unquote laws of free law, and 50-something, hellholes, dictatorships. Then you can start talking. Because you got some gore in there, because you got some nudity, big shit. So what? So what? So Egon, that's not good, man. He's saying that he's purposely trying to lose viewers on purpose and leave those who actually want to talk comics. That's stupid. That's dumb. Yeah, I've lost interest. I try to listen to him again after I don't have his name. It's so funny. I guess I didn't like his art either. His rap comics, please. Yeah, rap is such a mess, and I'm glad people are starting to, I guess, distance themselves from the whole idea of rap and the whole crowd because of the Diddy stuff. There's a lot of dirty stuff going on there. When those pants are hanging off your ass, that's a signal. That's a prison signal, if you know what I mean. That they're available. Let's just say there's something going on there. Nasty. Mackie replacing Evans is like Don Cheadle replacing Downey. Yep, absolutely right. Oof, that would not work. And even Cheadle, I mean, damn, that guy is one ugly fuck. He really is. And he's such a piece of shit leftist also. The other guy was better looking, and he would have been probably a better going forward, but I think he wanted more money. He got more money than Downey, the first one, I think. And he wanted more even than that. They're like, nah, I don't think so. Except for his voice. He had that kind of, high-pitched voice. That didn't really work. And Cheadle's a better actor than that guy, but still, probably would have been better. But if they got a guy, like just, get a masculine guy, for Rhodey. Someone, better. Even Michael B. Jordan. At that time, I guess he was too young. We're almost talking 20 years now. My God. Matt says, Anthony Jackie's eyes are too far. Yeah, they are. Hammerhead is true. They are. He's hurting. He's hurting on a physical level. He doesn't exude, that kind of heroism on a physical level. He doesn't. He's not that big a guy either. They can, JEC says they can CGI muscles on these guys. I know. Yeah, but there's only so much when a guy, at least, you saw these actors like Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Christian Bale. Christian Bale was a little thinner from the Batman Begins to Dark Knight Rises. You could tell, but he's still cut. He's still built, leaner. But these guys do the effort. Unlike in Eternals, when you saw the black guy was fat, the Asian guy was fat, the Indian guy, I guess, did it for no reason. But it's like they were fine with those guys being fat. The Indian guy, they said, okay, you have to work out. Black guy, Asian guy, don't worry about it. They're fat pigs with super suits. What the hell's that? And then they had that allegedly epic gay kiss. It was terrible. First of all, they advertised the Eternals 2 years before it came out. It'll be the first gay kiss. Feige. I mean, that collapsed the movie right there because it's like, you're not about the story. You're not about this. That was at a time where I think it was after Endgame. It was over at that point, and they had this stupid thing, and it was like they were about to cry before they kissed. It was like, what? Terrible. A man called Plush says, ironic that Mackie is playing a poser again. 8 Mile, anyone? He was in there. Plush, I don't know. Or like Eminem is a poser, because Eminem is a goddamn poser. Absolutely. Whew. A real poser. He's at the Oscars and he's trying to talk hard and say, you're at the Oscars, bitch. You're at one of the most popular things Hollywood whores go to. You're not street. You're not edgy. You're not in a ghetto. You're at the Hollywood whore event. And also, like, the stuff with Kendrick Lamar and this other stuff. It's like, and then you got multi-millionaire Samuel Jackson, a Disney actor, trying to go out there and tell it to us. It's like, what? No, you're just pop whores. That's what you are. You're not on the street. You're on the biggest stage in the universe. It's comical to see these rappers pull this shit. Anyway, I'm getting off the track here, clearly. But I want to read some commentary, and then I'm going to go check a few more, and then I'll keep reading, guys. Thanks for the comments. So yeah, I'm just going through this. I'm going to finish the... Okay, this was clearly done after Jaws. That's pretty cool. That's fun. But again, it was Romita really pulling it back a little and being as cartoony, as direct and simple as you could be. But still, I mean, look at this. Classic Cap, classic Spider-Man. Fun stuff, man. Fun stuff. Yeah, man. His Kingpin's great. He designed the Kingpin. He debuted issue 50 when Romita drew it. I still reject the idea that Kingpin can give Spider-Man any trouble on a physical level. Spider-Man could literally knock his head off with one punch. I think it's really stupid. That's good stuff here too. Okay, what does this say? Kirby and Romita. Look at this. Pencil by Kirby, ink by Romita. Wow. And do you see Kirby there? I don't see Kirby at all. A little by the buildings, a little by Sue, maybe, but not really. Interesting, huh? Kirby and Romita. I've seen Kirby and Romita. It always looks like, Romita. But Kirby needed that nice finish. It's sad that we never saw Kirby ink himself in any substantive way. Maybe we saw in some of the individual drawings they did it from time to time, maybe for commissions, but ink in comics, I would have wanted to see that. He was such a bold artist that you would think his inks would be like great for him. It's like Romita was never better than when he inked himself. Toth was never better than when he inked himself. And John Romita Jr., when he inks himself on those covers, he's great. Miller at times, like in Sin City, really good. 300. Byrne, really good. But, Austin still inked him better than anyone. That's a good Miss Marvel. Meet Miss Marvel? As in, is it possibly her first appearance? Is that possible? Huh. I don't know. Look at this. I never cared for the way he drew the Green Goblin sometimes. Way too friendly looking. I understand there's an appeal to that, like, okay, he's trying to look friendly, but he's not. That type of thing, but not really. Look at this. Huh. That's funny. I guess Dr. Doom created a opposite version. The red, the blue. I don't know. That's great. I think we saw a version of this earlier. His Thor is great. The Spider-Man pose is awesome. Look at this, man. Base Spider-Man the finesse for a game. Okay. How good is that, guys? I mean, it's just classic. He did a good FF too, Romita. Look at this advertising work. Super Slurpee. That's funny. But look at that. Everyone looks great. Even Hulk has his own appeal there. And it's still drawn well with a short nose, long upper lip. Those lines there. Spider-Woman looks great. Great eyes. That suit was a pretty cool. The yellow and red with a little black. Cap looks a little off, I gotta say. A little off. I don't know what's up with those eyes. That smile. This is some Romitas in there, but not fully. You could tell by the way the lines are there. But the coloring was very different than what was usually done. It was very standard, Spider-Man has a red suit, blue. That's it. Skin color has that color. That's it. Base Spider-Man, Mighty Marvel Comics calendar. That's fun. No one ever said saving the world will be easy. All the bad guys. Even a Hobgoblin shows up here. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, Puma. So this was, 80s, mid-80s. Interesting. Yep. There's, what's it called? What's his name? I forgot his name. This is good. I guess taken from other things. I don't think this was done on one piece because you could tell maybe some of these poses were, some of these things were from other pieces. But man, that's a great Daredevil. It's really, really good stuff. I just wanted to see how it looked upside down. It was perfect. With the dark blue, which is nice. That's great too. Look at that, guys. Awesome line work. Awesome. Okay, I'll read a few more comments. I don't know why, Matt says, I don't know why they replaced William Hurt with Harrison Ford. Well, William Hurt died. And Harrison bored out of his mind. I can't stand when he goes on the circuit to promote movies. He's always like, bitch, you're there. If you're going to be there, at least give some respect to these people asking questions. At least, if you're going to be there, or just don't be there. You know, it's like, it's exhausting at a certain point. Like, I don't want to see him. I just want to be reminded of those old movies he was in where he was good in. And he had the energy and he had the interest. Clearly, he doesn't anymore, so fine, but he's hacking it. He's going out like this, guys. Isn't that terrible? He's playing the Red Hulk as an 80-something-year-old. That's, I don't know, something undignified about that. It really is. You know, you should be doing something else. Art says that's old hat that they CGI muscles into the comedian in Watchmen. Did they? And wasn't Dr. Manhattan a complete, like a CGI figure from top to bottom? Mixed with some real for the actor. And they gave him that real voice like this. It was unnerving. I guess it worked in that sense, but I can't stand that character. I think he sucks. You know, he's so indifferent to human life. Doesn't give a shit. And then what? Because he finds, when he's on the Mars, okay, now I care. Yeah, sure. You have to go through that. Ugh, so stupid. Matt says, yeah, I'm GA born and raised, and Carter is a statewide embarrassment for us. Okay, sorry. Georgia, born and raised. He is. He's a piece of shit. And, you know, as a president, terrible, and he's terrible as an ex-president. You got a guy like Nick DiPaolo, who he's hacking it out now, really, in a lot of ways. He still has a show, but it's very short, and it's him just throwing shit out there, and if it catches, great. He was a great guy. I met him backstage somewhere. It's like, okay, what was the context there? Yeah, a great guy? No, because he didn't spit on you? No, dumb. Egon and Dragoncock says, my father hated Carter. He would only call him the peanut farmer. That's right. That's right. He disgraced the presidency. He allowed the Islamic enemy to run wild. He unleashed jihad, the modern jihad, on the world. He did. His weakness unleashed it. He allowed our citizens to be taken hostage. Terrible. A terrible president. I hope and pray the hostages be free. It's like, what? And also, you know, gas price, everything else is a malaise. It's like, no, it's you, bitch. It's not the country. It's you and your horrific policies. That's what happens when you hate the country. You cannot take the actions necessary to try to improve things. It's impossible for a guy like Barack Obama to try to make the country better. He hates it. There's nothing he can do, even if he tries to psych himself out. He can't. He doesn't love it. He hates it. So he's like, I don't give a fuck. I want to make sure I come out of this rich as can be. Him and that whore, wife of his. They're disgusting. They hate the country. He was raised by Muslims and communists. Father was a Muslim, turned communist. Stepfather was a Muslim. He was sent to Indonesia from 6 to 10. He was taking Quran classes. And the worst thing about Barack Obama is the fact that he was raised by these scumbags, right? Muslims and communists, and didn't question it, embraced both. He's the only ex-Muslim I've ever known in any context who had a soft spot for Islam, who still treated it with respect and loved it. It's like, something's wrong there. Something's wrong there. And of course, people say, oh, he is a Muslim. I think he's a nihilist. I think he is whatever hurts the West, he's for. So I don't think he's a practicing religionist. I don't think so. I think he's an atheist. I think he's a communist, but I also think he has a soft spot for evil, and that one of those evils is Islam. Anyway, so I'm gonna go for a few more here, guys, and then I'll pick up, and then I'll get back to this. When Cap said God doesn't dress like that, Thor, Loki, and Avengers 1, I rolled my eyes, but I cheered, go get him, you big cheese. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, that's, Cap is a little corny. He's from a different era. That's fine. That's why it's like, okay, I get it. Matt says it would be great to have her team up with Pigman and have him give her a high five. Who are you talking about, Matt? Sorry, if you could just remind me. JEC says Zach is only good when he has good material to make fun of. 2017 Marvel was perfect for him. Yeah, he was good at the time. I was hooked. I was listening to it every time. And I got to say, Ed Piskor. Thanks, JEC. Completely lost. I forgot his name. Ed Piskor. Didn't like his art. Some of the commentary sucked. Some of it was good when him and Jim Rugg. And I used to go to the small press conventions in SPX in Maryland. I went to the small press conventions in Mocha, New York. In New York, called Mocha. And, of course, the San Diego Comic-Con for years. Loved it. Loved being part of it. And I know Jim Rugg was there. I bought some of his Street Angel comics, which were good. I don't know if Ed was there. He had a whole shtick. He had a whole masquerade going on with that whole attitude he had and trying to talk. Hey, like his lingo was off. And I really didn't. I resented the fact that he called himself an outlaw, cartoonist. I was like, no, you're really not. You're really not. You're being published. I've never been published. I mean, I've gotten opportunities for certain things, sure, but Marvel, DC, Fantagraphics pretended I didn't exist when TF1 came out, even though they loved Toth, allegedly, and maybe could have or should have. I had an ad in there also years ago, 20 years ago now. I actually believed it was a decent magazine that was serious about its coverage. No, they're communists. They're communists who turn their nose up at popular, good stuff, good comics. Assholes. From Gary Groth, that piece of shit. Gary Groth, I used to call him, because he's like a growth in the comics industry. Nasty. Trashing Jim Shooter. He's our Nixon, something like that. Okay. JEC says Ed wouldn't even have his picture taken with EBS's brother Noah. Exactly. I heard about that. Noah does comics too. Fantagraphics publishes his stuff too. Yeah, he's a little more into the quirky, independent stuff. That's an asshole right there. That's an asshole. But, it's one thing. And clearly maybe he has some designs maybe on that younger girl. It's possible. Because you don't kill yourself because you're being canceled by these fucking freaks. Either he had designs, either he did do something, or he's just a coward, flat out. He said, oh my God, I can't take this. Man, I've dealt with a lot of stuff in my life. A lot. My life before I won the Muhammad Cartoon Contest, and now it's completely different. I don't have to elaborate too much on there, but you can make your assumptions. Almost died in that attack, gotten thousands of death threats. I've been vilified, by whenever I am mentioned in any kind of publication, vilified. As some, bleeding cool, they call me something, I forgot what they said. An old name for a right wing or something. You live with it. And you say, who is telling me this? Who's calling me this stuff? These scumbags who I'm morally superior to? These leftist rats who are racists and, evil. Who gives a shit, ultimately? So the point is that he took himself out because he couldn't be part of that anymore. It's like, it's terrible. And he didn't kill himself the way Zach tried to push it. I really hated it. He had a lot of heat in his voice too. I get it. Same time, it's like they murdered him. It's like, that's leftist talk. That's liberal talk. That's taking something and exaggerating to the point of lunacy. They didn't murder him. He took himself out. No one could lead you to suicide. That's a singular act. That's your act, ultimately. It's terrible. I rejected that completely when I heard Zach say that. Richard C. Meyer. But I never saw, by the way, I saw the old day in Comedy Kings that Zach was on the Comedy Central. I never saw that. I heard about it. I heard he got a quick haircut. Looked like, God damn, it looked like looked like a Nazi haircut. I don't know what the hell it was. It was terrible. And they went after him. Jeff Jeffries, who's a piece of shit. And then I mentioned that I was on Dilly Show. I assumed that was people knew that. It was 14 years ago now, but I don't think they knew the Kings. So they played it, and pretty cool. And that was fun. It was a 3-hour shoot. Asif Mandvi, the liberal Muslim, interviewed me. They ambushed me because they told me it would be this other guy, this other funny correspondent, some leftist guy, liberal guy, and he came up. And the woman I was with was like, are you okay? I said, yeah. I said, it's fine. I said, it should be fun. I said, I know they're going to try to mock me. I know they're going to try to rip me, but I'm going to push Pigman. That was my purpose. Whatever their purpose was, it didn't matter to me. I was going to push Pigman. I was going to promote Pigman and roll with some stuff. And if you haven't seen it, it's on my feed on X. Check it out. I got the clip on there. It's a 3-minute. I'm not in the entire thing, but I'm there for at least altogether, probably a minute or two altogether. Go in and out. And the funniest thing about that was at the end, we shot this one thing where Asif Mandvi, who, by the way, played Peter Parker's pizzeria boss, that he fired Peter Parker in Spider-Man 2 in the opening, if you remember that, which is pretty funny. So I recognized him from there. I said, yeah, that's a guy from the Spider-Man movie. But at the end of the shoot, they wanted to add something, which is I would be leading him to my pig cave, like the Bat Cave. But instead of the old Batman TV show where Batman blindfolds the people in his passenger seat that he drives to the Bat Cave with, right? I blindfold him, Asif Mandvi, and he drives us to my pig cave. I thought that was funny because we actually were on the road. He was driving. It was a smaller road, but it wasn't that long. But still, he was driving with his. I thought that was funny, and they cut it out. I think they cut it out because it made me look like a good sport. I rolled with it all. I was fine. I was promoting my work, and I'm surprised. I am actually surprised that they didn't mention the fact that I come from a Muslim background, that was raised Muslim. Because it gave me a little more legitimacy. It gave me a little more, okay, this guy's not just some schmuck, just, hey, Muslims, and, get out of the country. I know it. I know on an intimate level what I'm going after, what I'm going against. So that was pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, check it out, guys. It's on there. Terrence Howard. Thanks, Hamilton. A Man Called Plush says, Asian guy is a power lifter. Don Lee guy in green and gold. Don't know. 8 Mile Mackie played a battle rapper who was actually a suburbs guy. Okay, so he was there. I don't care for. I hate rap. I never liked it. I had cousins who really were into it, and I remember at one point my cousin told me I got rid of all my rap albums. I said, "Don't tell me. I don't care. You're stupid for getting into it, first of all, but don't try to kiss up to me about it. I think it's stupid. I think it's shit music. It's music. It's crap music." Anyway, I sound like an real old guy, but I can't stand it. And then you hear all this stuff. Again, there's something to it. These stories of P. Diddy and stuff, that whole culture, prison culture. Again, not too masculine. Let me just say that. In a perfect world, A Man Called Plush says, in a perfect world, Carl what's his name from Predator Rocky would be War Machine. Carl Weathers, man, damn. He also, a guy like that can play Captain America much more than Anthony Mackie. He's a good-looking guy. He's really good, a great voice. He's a little too old, clearly, at that point. I mean, he's now dead. He died. But he was great. He was so good as Apollo. So great. I mean, everything he did was great. I mean, he was great in The Predator, but he was great as Apollo. Just great. He was great as the guy in Happy Gilmore. Very funny. One second, guys. Yep. Carl Weathers. He was great. Sue looks curvy. Yeah, she did, JEC. Even though Romita inks. Was that Tombstone, Toxic Dust 13. Yes, it was. And it was that classic look where he has a turned up nose like a skull almost. And John Romita Jr. in his recent run drew him with like a regular nose, which I didn't like. You know, you gotta make it out there a little. Don't make him look average. Why? Matt says Miss Marvel. Thought you were talking about the Muslim. No, it was Carol Danvers. She debuted, I think, as Miss Marvel and then became Captain Marvel after Monica Rambeau became a different character, a different name. Toxic Dust 13. Obama's a communist first and foremost. Yeah, I mean, if he's going to lean one way from those two, yeah, I think so too. I think ultimately he's a nihilist. People said he's a Christian. I said he's a Christian. I said he's an atheist who pretends to be a Christian, communist with a hard spot for Islam. That's my short answer about who Barack Obama was. And that piece of shit had his political coming out party in the living room of Bill Ayers, a terrorist from the Weather Underground. They killed people. Somehow, some way, got away with it. And on the morning of 9/11, 2001, that piece of shit is highlighted in the New York Times in that rags. He's standing in a alleyway in New York, over on top of the American flag, and saying we didn't do enough. Meaning, the way I see it, we didn't kill enough people. That's who is friends with Barack Obama, who ran a school into the ground with him in Chicago. That's who hosted Barack Obama in his first political coming out party at his home. That's who Barack Obama is. And I remember assuming the Americans knew that and couldn't vote for him. John McCain was a piece of shit, but he's not as bad as Barack Obama, ultimately, in terms of the damage he would do to the country. And he did do great damage. A guy, he's in competition with Carter and Biden as worst ever and most anti-American president of all time. Flat out nihilist. Hamilton says, yeah, Zach got sandbagged by Jim Jeffries, who seemed pretty cool as a stand-up, but went very woke when he got a Comedy Central show. Yeah, he also, a guy caught him being manipulative, really changing his answers to certain questions to try to make him look bad. That guy's a piece of shit. And I think he's been off the grid for a while now, which is good. He doesn't deserve to have a spot. He just doesn't. He's too duplicitous. He's a lying rat. Wigan Singer says, it'd be cheesy, but Pigman's Batcave could be called the Pig Pen. It's funny. Headless Bourgeois, I never liked rap either. I just couldn't do it. I know people fall for it. I know people, they still fall for it. I got, family, I got friends. It's like, I could never, ever. The only rap I could, swallow was comical rap, meaning like if it's making fun of itself to some extent, I can get behind that, because it's such a stupid form of whatever it sounds. I can get behind that though. Okay, guys, I'm going to read a few more and then just get back to this because I'm going to finish this now. After watching, JEC says, after watching Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl show, I've come to the conclusion that rap isn't cool anymore. Its appeal was it was counterculture, underground, now it's on super. Exactly. I made fun of Eminem years ago when he was on stage at the Oscars trying to keep it real. It's like, nah. You're at the most glamorous event in the world. There's nothing real about you or this event. You can't keep it real, yo. You can't. You suck. And he's such a slob when it comes to his politics, such a whore. He came out for Kamala as if you think that guy actually believes. A guy like that, I doubt it. I really doubt it. I think a number of these people who supported Kamala, I think, like Stephen A. Smith, that piece of shit, he's another guy, Stephen A. Myth, they call him. He was all for Kamala, and now he's like, oh, shit, you know what? Trump has some points. Like, no, whore. You already did that. And there's actual talk, believe it or not, of him becoming president of the United States of America. Stephen A. Smith, who can't speak, who throws inappropriate words in his diatribes that don't fit. Something has transpired. It's like, no, you don't have to say that. What he essentially means, no. He said that. It's not, you're quoting someone. You don't have to say that what he essentially means. He said that, and you're quoting him. You don't have to say essentially. Just all this verbiage, it's like it's really bad. But he's such a fake, phony fraud. Man called Plus says Mr. Carl Weathers in his prime would kill it as Rhodey. 100%. Absolutely, 100%. He would have been great as Rhodey. Great. The only problem is he would have been far more masculine than Tony, far more. Bigger, stronger. I mean, you saw his build. He was, jacked. I mean, the guy was jacked. And he's a good actor with a good voice. He's a handsome guy. And it's tragic, man. I think he went before his time. I know he was older, but that was pretty damn close because I think he just filmed parts of the Star Wars show that he was on. And I think not long after. Damn. Out of nowhere. Carl Weathers was great. Head lifts, bourgeois, nihilist, and a cultural Marxist at best. Yeah, that's for sure. No doubt about it. Hated the country. Hates the country. Wants to see it burn. He really does. And that rat comes out of his rat hole every so often to start trouble. He's been, if you notice, he has shut his trap in the last 2 months, 3 months, if you noticed. He came out there and he lied, pulled every lie he could about Trump being Hitler and all that, and Nazi. And he shut his trap. He hasn't said anything. Toxic Dust 13 says, I heard that about Stephen A. LMAO. Yeah, Stephen A. Myth. He also wrote a biography, which the word is that it is really bad. I shot 17 three-pointers in a row in a college. No, you didn't. No, you didn't do that. And then I cracked my knee with a 6-inch nail in my knee. 6-inch nail? You know how long that is? What? Anyway. Ego and the Dragon Cock says, holy shit, DC de-aged Superman's son back to 9? And they are keeping him with his adult gay boyfriend? Is that true? Because they're then trying to say pedophilia there. They're trying to say, no, but he's not 9 years old. He's older. Whew. Anyway, sick. All right, guys, I'm going to go back to going through this beautiful art by Romitas. I showed you this already, actually. It's just a great cover. Again, look at Peter Parker. Rock solid. Looks like an athlete, like a gymnast. You see the muscles in his legs, those thighs. Damn, I mean, bigger than usual, but it works. It works. I just don't like the light blue. And he took out the web pits. I think that was... look at this, guys. This is funny. Cheesy and funny. Look at this. That's hilarious. Rock reflections of a superhero. Look at Spider-Man. Captain America. What the hell? FF. So a surfer floating with his board on the keyboard. That's hilarious. Thor. Man, this is funny stuff, guys. But beautifully drawn, Conan, look at this. That's hilarious. Conan with his crew. Oh, man, the Hulk. Of course, he's playing drums. That is funny. I guess the bass, Power Man. That's hilarious, guys. Yeah, that sounds horrific, Egon. Oof. Look at this again, guys. Just look at the line work. Again, it's not talked about enough. I don't know if anyone who talks about it actually, to the extent that I do. I'm not trying to say, hey, God, no, but the point is, look at this. Look at the placement. That line down the center, his spine, right? It goes right there. That line there. You got this line there going down his arm. Everything fits perfectly. Nose, mouth line, circle here, circle there. The line work goes down there and then it turns the other way when it comes a little closer to us. If you notice that, it's going that way, the webbing, and then it goes this way. And look at the hands even. It's fantastic, the line work. The boots from there to there, angled there. Beautiful. Only if it was the black, the dominant black on the blue parts. But this looks cool, actually, like a black and white type thing, without the light blue. I don't like light blue as a color. I think the thing about light blue, I don't like it. It reminds me of those light blue tuxedos, which were horrific. John Romita Jr. Dark Knight Return style. At least I believe that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah, the Dark Knight Return style, where he soups up his suit to try to fight Gil Kane, I believe, and John Romita. Because Gil Kane always wanted to show off his musculature at the expense of the story sometimes. I didn't like that. I really didn't. He was really quirky sometimes, like Spider-Man's coming down. He's like this. It's like, all right. Seems like he's not flowing with the action. It's just weird. And he was pretty much of an asshole. Such a snob when I heard him in interviews. Terrible. With Gary Groth. And I think he said something about Toth, where he tried to accuse Toth of saying something really nasty about the Japs, as he called it. Toth was like, he cursed him out. He's pissed off. This is really good, actually. This is a pretty modern piece, I believe, by John Romita Jr. and Scott Hanna. I love the way he makes a black costume. It's a really good shot. It's very good. I believe this is fairly recent. This is fairly recent too. He's doing Daredevil covers, which it's impossible to read. You got this Muslim communist who basically writes Daredevil now, and he couldn't wait to shove Islam down our throats within the first 2-3 pages. How? Matt Murdock, who's a priest, I guess, at that point, and he's writing him as a priest, he probably told Marvel, I want to make Matt a Muslim now. They said, yeah, nah, you already write to Miss Marvel and there's another Muslim superhero. How about make him a priest? Okay, that's probably what happened. Anyway, he gets in a cab, Matt Murdock. There was a preview. I read the first 5 pages online. And Matt Murdock is in the back seat and the driver says, oh my God, I gotta go pray. A Muslim driver. I gotta go pray. He goes, sure, that's fine. He goes, prays, and the writer couldn't wait. On the first issue of Daredevil, we have a 5-page scene of Daredevil as a priest in the back seat of a taxi, and the Muslim driver has to go pray. No action scene, nothing to make his mark. Like this is something here, like an epic thing, like the bomb that goes off in the opening of Born Again, with a single name that's dropped. If you know about it, you know about it. No. What this guy did was like, I got to get Islam in there. I got to get Islam in there because I'm Muslim. And Muslims shove Islam into everything. So he couldn't wait. But the covers are pretty cool by John Romita Jr. I like that. Can't get the comics though. Another one. It's not that good actually. I don't know what's up with the teeth there either. A little off. It doesn't quite work. I don't know what that flap is. I don't know. Some of them are good though. 2021 Romita. It's a very different looking Wolverine than he normally did. The line work's pretty cool though. Yeah. John Romita. I love the way he drew gangsters. The Amazing Spider-Man number 51 cover production photostat featuring John Romitas' unrevised artwork. Okay, I guess I gotta check that out. But I love the way he drew gangsters. Look at this. Look at those. What do you call those ears? Like boxer ears? I forgot what they call them. Cauliflower ears, I think. I think. It's fun. That's okay. And there's something about he's making like he's not laying down the blacks the way he did before, like in blotches. He's like covering it all up in black, which is how I do Pigman. Because Pigman has like he has a black costume with some red highlights. That seems like what he's doing now for Daryl. Not that he's caught me. I'm not even alluding to that. But the point is that he used to make it with blotchy lines, like ink lines, which was good. I prefer that actually to this. And I don't like when they have like too much of a separation of that between the gloves and stuff. It seems like that's almost pink also. Not that good. It's like he's in that angle to get away from the buildings. Looks like, I don't know. Not that good, Romita Jr. This was pretty damn good. This cover, the art inside was not that good. I gotta say, Dan Green inked Romita, and whatever reason, it didn't have that bold, look that he had. Maybe his pencils weren't as bold as. I don't know if his pencils were that, but this is a great cover. Look at this, John Romita Sr. Look at that. That is an awesome Kingpin profile silhouette. It's a great Spider-Man. The eyes are bigger, but that's fine by me. The line work is still there. Daryl looks great. The city, that's awesome. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. I just didn't. Eyes were way too much, also, but he still kept that. It was post McFarlane, where again, to this day, I will push it with anyone that it was an editorial edict to get Spider-Man to look more McFarlane-esque. That's what it was. He said it's like Ditko. Ditko never did that. Never did the eyes that big, ever. Never did. Sometimes bigger than other times, but never that big. And John Romita Jr. in his 80s run made them a little bigger, the white of it, which was fine by me. This is some of the sketch work that I did for this special. That's great. Great Kingpin. Great Kingpin. He gave him the kind of brows that no one else did, those big, bushy brows. Miller didn't do that really. I don't think Mazzucchelli did it either. Not even Romita Jr. I think that's a Miller. That's a Romita mark. And he did, design him, so that's pretty cool. This is Romita's. I think this is both of them. I think it is, yeah. It looks like the pose looks like John Romita Jr. and the ink looks like his father, clearly. That's pretty cool. John Romita Jr., Hobgoblin, Spider-Man, pretty cool. That is pretty cool. It's fairly recent also. Yeah, another of those romance comics. I'm going to read a few more, guys. Wingus Stinger says, I miss Spider-Man consistently having this build with the larger shoulders and forearms, not as big as Superman or Captain America, but still big. Yeah. There was something about that. I think John Romita Jr. at one point in the 90s or 2000s run weighed him way too skinny. His legs were way too skinny. His head was bigger. It didn't work. His 80s one, he was lean, but he was really developed. I mean, his shoulders popped out. His calves were big. His back was solid. He was rock solid. A great build. You're right. Not as big as Cap or Superman, but right a little under that, which was just fine. Just perfect for him, actually. He's a little shorter than those guys, too. He's 5'10", 165 pounds, listed in that handbook of the Marvel Universe. Just right. This is great, too. Look at this. Even romance comics, just beautiful women. Look at this stuff, man. It's beautiful. Great line work. Great use of black and white, balancing it out on the page. D. Oberg says, and the webs on his other arm bend the other direction. Yeah, that's the thing. He was a master when it came to it. He understood the building of the structures and what angle they were doing, the foreshortening. So he considered all that when he made the lines. Okay, the cylinder, as he saw it, the cylinders will be this way. And then the webbing, I can change it this way or that way. That's great. Wiggins says, I've grown so tired of super skinny Spider-Man. Yeah, way too skinny. That first Amazing Fantasy, he was pretty skinny. And he did draw him a little with the big head, especially when he was walking away from the robber. He was like that, almost looked a little fruity, actually, and put his hand like that. But he made him pretty skinny, Ditko. And you could see the progression by the time 15 issues come out, he was getting pretty big. You could see all the musculature, And then, of course, in the 80s, he was just solid. And then it went a little too skinny. And McFarlane, whatever, guys, if you think he's great, try to look at McFarlane's, the way he drew the body, and tell me that's any good. It's horrifically bad. The anatomy was terrible. He made him with a big ass. Whenever he was upside down, he made him with a big ass because he wasn't considering it as a drawing. He didn't draw it upside down or anything. He just made it with a big ass in the corner box. I was like, what's that about? I stopped reading it after he started inking it because Bob McLeod inked the first two issues, I think, that McFarlane did. And then McFarlane, I think, started inking it with 300, I believe. He did 298, 299. Bob McLeod inked it in the black costume, and then it went for the... This is really good, by the way. This is John Romita Jr. Amazing Spider-Man number 52. Years ago, clearly, but I like it a lot. It's a really good, solid artwork. Good storytelling, good backgrounds, good Peter Parker. The car is great. It's very good. Very good. Great line work, too. Now, this was John Romita Jr. as inked by John Romita Jr. Good stuff, man. Really good stuff. Good inking. I like that. Look at that. The hair highlight. Very, very strong. He opted to go a lot more straight there instead of like the brushwork type thing, which is fine by me. It's a aesthetic choice, and it worked. Wolverine looks great. That line work there is nice. Very nice. Every time I've seen him ink himself, it was really good. This is Romita Sr., clearly. Sergeant Fury, look at that. Hit 'em, Howlers. If the mob prints his phony cash, they'll wreck the Allied invasion. Death for $1. That's great stuff. And that's clearly a black man. And he drew him correctly. Romita. He didn't, leave it on the color as to make him black with just the color. That's good. It's very good. I think there was a fear of some artists doing that. Stupid. Yeah, I guess someone got Romita to draw this on that issue 36, which was the 9/11 issue where Spider-Man came face-to-face with it. And it was tough. Tough reading. J. Michael Straczynski put some bullshit in there. Try to equate one of these preachers in America with the Taliban. It's like, no. However annoying some of them might be, they're not flying planes into buildings, you idiot. And then he had Dr. Doom and the Juggernaut at Ground Zero with Magneto. Magneto, you could say, okay, I get it. Maybe, if anything, because he goes back and forth. Dr. Doom is going to be there helping? No, he wouldn't do that. Juggernaut? No. Just stupid stuff like that. But yeah, I guess that's what he did. It was because it's a black cover. The original cover is black, so Romita. I guess Hannah did the towers and Romita did the Spider-Man. I think that's what it is. I love this cover. By John Romita Jr. He penciled and inked it. I think it's great. Fantastic design work. Great drafting. Look at this. And I like when he decides to go as simple around here. It's like, okay. And just the form of the forearms. Look at that. It's really good. Everything right where it belongs. The bubbles coming out. The octopus. So good. He's a good inker, man. I just got to see him do it for a full comic. I think artists are ultimately their best inkers. They should be, at least. Because they give a damn more Jarman Jr. for 40 years, 50 years has been throwing his art to the hands of indifferent inkers at times. I can't imagine doing that. I can't. You know, EVS has been inking his own work for years, and I admire that because it's like the finish line is so important. It really is. You know, some of the other guys might miss some stuff. They might cut corners. You don't want to do that. I guess this is 85. A little weird there, thicker neck, but it's fine. The line works great. Look at that. I love that. Huh. I guess trying to put him in the same pose as Wolverine. That's a very nice Wolverine, too. It's very simple. That's when he was drawing X-Men. The Shadow. The Shadow knows. This is last year. Pretty cool. That's a nice vision. Very cool. This is last year as well. Not bad. Last year as well. Green Lantern. Craven. Pretty cool. I like it. It goes here at the front of his mask. And when you look at on the side, it's like a thick ear. It looks pretty cool. And it ends up in the back of his head. So I like that. Sometimes a little too long here. It's okay. Scarlet Witch. A little too masculine, but good drawing. This is great. This is great. Copying that Amazing Fantasy and then 252 with Ron Friends on that cover. And then this is his version of it. Very cool. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. You can't show too much of that. I don't think so. And if you do, you should show some scarring at least. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I've seen this. That's not bad at all. Look at that. Everyone looks more or less the same, the mouse, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. All right, guys, I'm going to read a little more, and then I'm going to finish up soon. We can get going. JEC says, Skinny Spider-Man works if he's in high school. In the story, he should be more built if he's supposed to be an adult. Yeah, and in high school, it definitely worked. And Ditko did do him as that. And as he got, I guess as he got into college, you could tell Ditko made him a little more muscular. And by the time issue 33 came, he was, rock solid. I mean, just rock solid. When he put that thing above his head, it was awesome. JEC says, McFarland figure work and face are terrible. He's a better inker than he is a penciler. Yeah, he was, good when he was inking. Like a guy like Capullo, he can draw his ass off. He's a hell of an artist. He's another guy, though, I've not really seen ink his own stuff. He's always reliant on inkers. I don't understand that personally. I just don't. He was always good. I mean, Capullo was good from day one. I think he did a Daredevil issue years ago. X-Force, Quasar, really good. And he had that quality about him. I would have loved to have seen Terry Austin ink him because he was right there with him. Slightly cartoony, stylized, great detail, good anatomy. Everything was good. Just the guy is a rock solid comic book artist. And yeah, McFarlane's Peter Parker looks stupid. Mary Jane, not good. And then, he made, for some reason, his Spider-Man, the profile was just a flat face. How? It's a human face there. Peter Parker doesn't lose his nose when he puts on his mask. Just thoughtless. Wingensinger says, McFarlane is such a funny artist with the way he structures things. He's almost more made for making goofy cartoon characters than Marvel DC superhero style cartoon. 100%. He probably would have been great doing things like, I don't know, Popeye or something like that. He probably would have excelled in that far more than these superheroes who are supposed to be heroic. Far more. Huh. Wingenstinger says to JEC, that one cover of X-Force where McFarlane inks over Liefeld, I think I remember that. Cable, no? is funnily one of the best looking pieces from either of them. LOL. I think you're right. There was an interesting, complete mix of both. Both were there, but I just love seeing it sometimes when you get these artists who you wouldn't think would work well together, and somehow they produce something pretty interesting. JEC says Dr. Doom would cheer on Death America. Of course, yeah. You know, the hometown of the FF. Why wouldn't he? Mike Hunt says the shadow nose. That's funny. He does have that big nose. Hilarious. JEC Al Williamson really elevated John Romita Jr. stuff. He was great, and John Romita Jr. The word is that he was disillusioned with Marvel. Had left X-Men. He did star brand for Shooter. The New Universe bombed. No funding, and I think years ago he was making fun of it. And even though he told Shooter, "I'm going to stick with you here," he said, "Look, I know you're in a bind. I know they took the funding away for this New Universe thing, but he stuck with it for about half a year. I think it was six or seven issues. Anyway, so he had a lot of stuff also. He had a lot of resentment, he said. People were saying, "Oh, you're just nepotism. You're just your father's son." And, look, he's always been a good artist. He's earned his way. He really has. And people don't realize that by now. I don't know what to say. So Daredevil. Ralph Macchio goes up to him in the hallway. Says, "Hey, he may be Daredevil." He goes, "Huh." So it's Daredevil. And he said, "Okay, I'll do it if Al Williamson inks it." Knowing into his mind it's not going to happen, but let me throw it out there. And Al Williamson agrees. He was like, "Yeah, I'd love to ink John Romita Jr." And you could tell they were great together. And then, the final form of that was Man Without Fear that Frank Miller wrote. The best, one of the best things Romita ever did. Clearly the best art, I think, of that entire run. Even though some stuff was really good for that and the Senti stories, but I got to say, those stories, you take away Romita's art, I don't know. Some weird shit going on there. Quirky stuff. Have you ever seen anything else that she's done outside of that? Memorable? Great? No. That art really carried it pretty damn well. There were moments, but too quirky, too much of our politics in there. Liberal, leaning left, meet his murder type thing, and I think the global warming stuff and whatever. But Al Williamson did a great job on John Romita Jr.'s inks, on John Romita Jr.'s pencils. Great job. JEC, his eyes are a little high up on those head sketches. Okay, his eyes. He's making big nose on everyone these days, even on Peter Parker. It's very strange. Everyone looks the same. The mouths are all the same. It's like he's found a shorthand way to do it, but it's like you're dealing with individuals. Please draw them individualistically. It's important. It's, when I designed the characters for my current project right now, I had to make sure none of them looked alike. They had to look different. Different nose, different cheeks, different chin design, different, shape, brows, no brows, thick brows, so on, curly hair, whatever, and so on. It's important to differentiate them. It really is, and he has been doing that. Mike Hunt says spiders are wiry, though. I get it. That's why it's, sometimes a drum like Bruce Lee build, JEC says Capullo does super tight pencils. Inkers really just need to trace over his stuff. That is the case. I've seen some of his pencils. The guy's great. A great style, a great storyteller. I mean, great draftsman. He really is. He's really good. Even for all the credit he does get, I don't think he gets enough. I just don't. I think the guy's a hell of an artist. And I wasn't crazy about the stories that Scott Snyder was writing for the Batman. I really wasn't. Court of Owls and all that. I don't know. I don't remember too much. Scott, Snyder talks about how he has anxiety and all that. It's like, yeah, okay. I don't know. Sometimes I think if you a conscious of those things and make them part of your being character, you start bringing on unnecessary anxiety that you may be able to ignore, or stress levels, let's say. I had this one person in my life years ago, like stress. I'm like, I don't really feel stress, and it's true to some extent. I don't know. It's not that I'm in denial about it, but I don't want to make it part of my thing. It's like, yeah, I get stressed often. I don't. I really don't. Anyway, Mike says, although muscle insertions and the amount of cells you have in muscle is determined by genetics, meaning you could eat, train, and do the same drugs as Arnold Schwarzenegger and never reach his size. Yeah, that's for sure. You are limited by that. Mike says, I'm a cartoonist and I have an interest in exercise science, so I take note of different muscle types. Cool. Hail, Jimmy. Hail. M Sandwich, she wrote Long Shot. Yeah, but outside of the art, do you remember the story? In all honesty, do you remember it being a great story? If Al Milgram drew that story, would you be like, wow, that's a hell of a story? No, that was a showcase for this incredible new artist at that time, Art Adams. Incredible. So I just don't, and it's tough to reread those issues at times, I got to say, because the art's great, but man, it was a slog at times. It really was. Moments here and there were good, but overall, as like an epic, like a run, you take Daredevil Born Again against that, it collapses. It just collapses as a story. Jimmy the Lumberjack drawing all big noses. Maybe it's a superhero Coke thing. It's funny. I think it's in his mind, like, I don't know, Goomba thing, like Italian or something. I don't know. Mike says Capullo had the best tutorials in Wizard magazines. I remember getting Wizard, but I just don't remember his. It must have been great because the guy is a hell of an artist, and he has that quality where you're right about the type pencils, because his pencils look like, at times, if you look at them, it looks like the pencil version of Terry Austin inks. His meticulous line work, the little dashes and dots and the angles that he chooses is really good, man. The guy's really good. I just would love to see him ink himself, because the only Conan comics I have from John Buscema are the ones where he inked himself. I read a ton of them before, but the only ones I have still kept were the ones where he inks himself, because nobody inked him better than he did himself. Alcatina, the other guys, they slapped on so much garbage on the art. It was buried. His great pencils and anatomy was buried under this absolute unnecessary detail that they slapped on. It was terrible. JEC says Capullo is top tier. He is. He's an all-time great. He's everything he's done has been just rock solid. I will say, though, I skipped the Spawn. I never liked Spawn. I got the first 10 issues, whatever. He bought those writers for a time. Never found the character compelling. Never did. I saw images of some of the stuff that Capullo was doing, and the guy's great. The guy's all-time great. He's really good. And in terms of mainstream artists, I mean, one of the best. Scott Snyder is super overrated, 100%. Snyder is definitely overrated. Mike says, Jimmy to Jimmy, he goes, maybe because superheroes were created by Jews. About the noses? Huh. It's a little crack there. Big noses for Jews. Are you an anti-Semite, or are you just being cute about it? I don't know. Art says, just followed you on Rumble. More people going there, even got me some Rumble Premium. Cool. Thanks, Art. Appreciate it. I do have a channel there. I had it basically as a backup for my YouTube when they... By the way, yesterday, before my stream, YouTube disabled my account. Again. And Google did. You know, it's happened too often, man. And I was lucky to get back in because I want to start my live stream, but still, it was up in the air for a little bit yesterday. It pissed me off. I told them, I said, can you guys just stop doing this? Stop disabling my account. It doesn't matter what reason you give me. I don't give a shit. And then you say, oh, our mistake. Last time they did it. It's our mistake. Yeah. What are you going to do about it? If it's a mistake, what do you do about it? I've been paying you guys for the premium also, and I have my channel. The hell? Jimmy says, oh, come on. Us Greeks have big noses too. Also Italians and some Albanians too. And Muslims. I mean, look at their schnozzes. Arabs. Mike says, Odyssey is a bit more reliable than Rumble, I found. It's so funny, guys. I've heard of Odyssey. I've never have access to it. I've never watched anything on there. I heard some of the guys talking about it. Odyssey. What's the point of it? Is it like a hidden in a dark secret or something? I'm like, I never got close to even watching anyone. There are no links anyone sends. It's always YouTube or Rumble or something else. But Odyssey, I've never seen that. Is it for a particular thing? Is it for video games or I don't know? Is it a video service? Wingus Thinking says, to be fair, just about anything falls apart next to Born Again. It does. In terms of Daredevil, yeah. In terms of comic book stories. I mean, speaking of that, Wingus Thinking, I got this a little, not that long ago, actually. Daredevil Born Again, the larger version. I have the artist edition, which is huge. This is larger. And while it's great, they stupidly did this on the edges of each page. They made an inch of red with Daredevil Born Again on every single page, and it made the center of the art, you have to crack it open to see a little more. Instead of not having this and stretching it out. It's just stupid. A dumb mistake. Dumb. But what a hell of a cover to use. That was, I think, the final page of 232 before the encounter with Nuke. Awesome. All-time great. I think Miller's greatest writing. This is where Mazzucchelli became a star, where he became this great artist that was anticipated to draw Batman year one. Because prior to that, he was, the go-to artist at Daredevil. He was drawing it for a few years at that point. And while it was good, nothing prepared me, at least, for seeing this. And it was this issue, and I have a breakdown of it on one of my videos. This issue right here, 231, where he just, I don't know, 230? 230. Huh, I had in my head that it was 231. Interesting. Look at this. Look at this, guys. Fantastic. Look at this. Very different than even 5 or 6 issues ago, where he was drawn even 219 with the Vulture. Very different. The finish work was different. He was really exaggerating, where he never did that prior to this. It was all representational, all realistic. But then again, look at this. This is realistic as hell also. And there was something that I did with some of the characters in my first book, Table for One. I drew the most realistic characters realistically, and the least realistic characters less realistically. A little more cartoony, a little more exaggerated. It was my way to show who's, foolish, who's this, who's that. It's not obvious, but once you see it, you see it. But man, this is just, look at this. He made, J. Jonah Jameson appear like a powerful publisher instead of this vindictive guy who hates Spider-Man. Look at that. Look at the line work. Look at the inking. Look at the bold choices. Look at Ben Urich there. That's a bold design choice right there, especially for monthly comics, because you're experimenting and hope the experiment works off, pays off, and it did. It's beautiful. So yeah, I'm going to review issue by issue in a new video series. I've been trying to figure out a way to do it live with you guys, get back and forth on that, but I don't know. I might have to do it as just a recording, because I tried to do it 2 different ways so far. Both of them haven't quite worked out well for the audio and for, we'll see. But man, this is an all-time great. All-time great. Okay, so I'll read a few more and then I'll finish up the Romita. Let's see. Check this out, guys. John Romita Jr., Uncle Scrooge. How cool is that? I love that. And the colors went off too. Beautiful color. It's so funny to see some of these artists draw really cartoony characters, and you could tell there are elements of John Romita Jr. there. Something about the line work, the little wrinkles here. It's just really good. I love it. The building there, the line work in the shading of the sky. It's so good. Okay. JEC, I think John Romita Jr. got a pretty big nose. Maybe. Artists' characters end up looking like themselves a lot of the time. Maybe that's the case. I don't know if it's that big, but maybe from the side. I just don't know. John says, Porton says, the recent Conan series by Jim Zub has been a pleasant surprise. Pretty solid stuff. It is. And John, if it's not Roberto Della Torre drawing it, I'm out. It's unfortunate. There's some good artists maybe. But I look who's drawing it. I'm like, nah. It's so good, the Della Torre issues, that I just can't go under that. And the stories and his art together are great. And the stories might be good, but I don't know. It just, to settle for something less than that, it's tough. I think I bought one of them or two of them. I'm like, I just don't like it. It's just, it doesn't have that standard. The standard has been set now, and it's awesome. And to go beneath that, under that, nah. Talking about the different Rumble and Odyssey. Stuck at home? No, they didn't. Did YouTube give a reason this time? Not at all. They don't. They never do. I violated something. Tell me. Be specific. We don't have to. Okay. But I just can't stand it. I was able to get into my account. I was locked out. You can try to get back, and did something, got a call and got a number, and it was able to get right through with no problem. And if that's the case, if you can do that, then it's not a real problem, is it? If you just signed in within a minute or two, nothing really happened, did it? Mike says, I love Mel Brooks. He's funny. John Porter says, the Iliad is better. Than the Odyssey. That's funny. Art says, a lot of people are getting sick of their mistakes. I mean, absolutely. People are also surprised at the amount of views they're getting on Rumble. Good time to build. Yeah. I think so too. I think Stephen Crowder is always telling his YouTube viewers, hey, go to Rumble, because they're going to censor him for certain things, and they do. And they don't do it at Rumble. And he must have millions there, as far as I know, because he has millions on YouTube. So, Jay-Z says, Odyssey started around the same time as Rumble. Rumble got more attention. Odyssey with a E-E. Jimmy says, that is a sweet cover. It really is. John Romita Jr., Scott Hanna. It's just fun. And the color is beautiful. I love when these colors do this with the outline, with the white. It's a nice splash of light there. It really works beautifully. It just works beautifully. It's awesome. Art says, so you're saying the artist edition is still the way to go? I mean, I got them all. I got the digital version. I got the hardcover edition, the old one with the church, what do you call it? The stained glass with all the characters in there. I got the Ars edition. I have this one. I mean, they also have a smaller version of the Ars edition. I don't know if you saw that, guys. It's cheaper. It's at least $60 cheaper. Might be worth getting if you're interested. It's a smaller version of the Ars edition, but it has everything that this has. Just the black and white art with all the little, imperfections and coffee stains, whatever, the editors. Check it out. I saw it and I was like, I was about to get it. I was like, I got the Ars edition. That's the one I really want. It's like, it's the one to have. I would love to see if they do like a 40th issue special edition, something like The Dark Knight next year. It'll be the 40th anniversary. Are they gonna do something special? I hope so. I hope so. I don't know what they could do, but make it special, guys. You have a legendary book there. That book cracked into the mainstream like nothing did. Rolling Stone magazine was previewing it and talking about it, talking to Miller. It became a cultural phenomenon. JEC, I think Miller wanted Trevor Von Eaton for year one originally, which is weird because Eaton used to date Lynn Varley. I know that. He was a good artist though, Trevor Von Eaton. I think it's Trevor Von Eaton, not Eaton. I think. Good artist. There's one. I'm a little hard on Denny O'Neil. He's such a limpy lib. He really was such a stinking leftist. Hard traveling heroes sucked. So with a hammer over your fucking head with his politics. Ugh. But a few of those issues of Daredevil with Mazzucchelli was one guy. My sweet. He used to drain the life of people. It was pretty disturbing and scary and effective. And the way Mazzucchelli drew it was well. That was effective. Micah Sin story I didn't like at all. The Fog was good with Heather. I forgot her last name. One of Daredevil's old girlfriends. That was good. The story with the Vulture was good. And then Venom. The origin of, I guess, the drug that ended up empowering Bane. Venom. Batman was the first one to expose himself to it. A good story. And I think it was called Venom. And Dark Knight, Legends of the Dark Knight, I believe, that series. Older stories of Batman in his earlier days, where he had only the bat on his chest. Trevor Von Eaton layouts, and Jose Luis Garcia Lopez finishes and inks. And the art's really good. And the story was good. It was effective. And then those little weird things that Denny O'Neil was good at were in there. And that's the last thing I remember Trevor Von Eaton doing that was really good. I've seen some very stylish stuff that he did years ago. Batman, Superman. Interesting stuff. So that's interesting that you said that. I guess he didn't care. I guess that he had, because I do know, I think Trevor Von Eaton mentioned it in an interview that he was, I don't know if she had left him for Miller, but if she did, that must have been a little tough. And maybe not easy to work with him. I don't know. Mike Hunt says there's a comic called The Bodyssey from Europe. Pretty sexy. The Bodyssey. That's funny. Jimmy the Lumberjack says Scrooge McDuck looks cooler than ever. Jeremy Jr. Kudos. It's so good. Rooftop, front, leaning forward, like an angle. Really nice line work, man. And the color is fantastic. Who colored this? Menda? I don't know. I can't read it exactly. John Porter says, I agree 100% with your Conan take. Del Tour is necessary. I hope that they figure that out. I'm assuming the guy pencils and inks his own work. It's just he's so good. He probably puts so much into it that he just can't keep a monthly thing. And that's fine. I just personally would love him to maybe do a graphic novel every year, with Titan books of a Conan graphic novel, at least. So we'll have something rock solid every year because the guy is damn good. He clearly loves Buscema, but he's his own artist. He makes Conan bigger than Buscema did. He inks every single issue he draws, which I always admire. Anyone who does that, I love that. Gary Frank has been doing that now regularly, and he's never looked better, ever. It's the finish, guys. I think that's one of the reasons why, I think Toth to me is the greatest of all time. He didn't compromise. When he became known enough, he almost always inked his work. Very rarely did he not. And he cared so much about the finished look. It meant a lot to him. And it should mean a lot to artists. And some artists are flat out indifferent. I don't understand it. They throw their beautiful pencils to some possible indifferent inker who fucks it all up. You know, like whatever. I got an all-nighter. Let me just, I don't know. Unless you're a damn good inker who will add to it, I don't know. It's very difficult. Because some of those things, like Klaus can be good, but he can be sloppy also. He really can. And sometimes like, oof, not good. Not good. Way too rough, especially for Superman. When he inked, Romitas Superman issues, didn't really work. Not for Superman. Punisher, sure. Daredevil, absolutely. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Klaus inking Johnny Jr. on Daredevil. Never got to see it. I would love to have seen it. Emerald Fat 40 ounce. I made money on Rumble, YouTube. YouTube $0. Huh. Interesting. I haven't made any money on Rumble yet, but I haven't loaded up anything. It's a backup for me for now until it's more viable for me. I've tried to get an audience there. Nowhere near as much as I have. Now, I don't have much on YouTube, but I got more. I'm leaning towards that 3,000 mark where you can get monetized. It's like leaning towards. It's going pretty well now. We'll see. Max E. Miller says, will you be doing a similar overview of another artist after going over Born Again? Of course, I love these live reviews for the Romitas. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Max. Sure. I mean, I love a lot of artists. I got a lot of work from a lot of these guys. Definitely. Toth, I got a lot of short stories that he penciled and inked for Eerie and Creepy, which are fantastic. I have a hardcover of all of them. So, but I just don't know as of yet if I can do it live, these art reviews of the actual comics. 2 ways so far bombed. I'll try a few more, but if I can't, I think I'll just record the videos. I'll record the videos and discuss them? I don't know. No, just enjoy them, guys, really, at that point, because I don't know what else. Plus, I don't want to get too distracted. I want to focus on, you know what? That might not actually be a good way to do it, because this is, to me, the greatest, hands down, superhero story. Again, Dark Knight is my favorite overall comic book. What he was able to achieve there. The epic nature of it, Batman in his 50s coming out of 10-year retirement, the government sending Superman in, Gotham, it's epic stuff, man. There's a nuke going off. Epic. The media is going all over him, similar to how they're going all over Trump, prescient in that way. But yeah, so I think it probably would be better for me to focus on what I'm reading instead of interacting. I think so. I don't know. I'm curious. Because here, I mean, I enjoy this with guys, but this is not a story. It's just some art. So that's the difference. We'll see. But yeah, Max, there's a lot of other artists I like to go over. And I got, Jack Kirby and Ditko. I got books on Ditko, hardcover books. I got a lot of these books here. I got the Dave Stevens, the Rocketeer, that special edition. I got Will Eisner. I got a few books of his. I have, Elektra Assassin, which was wild and great. I also have Kill a Mockingbird, a graphic novel, which was done well. It was well done. Mike says, even explaining the problem with Odyssey and Rumble got my comment deleted. YouTube really censorious? On here, are you saying, Mike? If so, that's crazy. Art says, I think Crowder gets more views on Rumble now. I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised. Tim Pool just partnered with Rumble too. Huh. Broke his viewer record for his after show right away on Rumble. Interesting. I love that. I love that because YouTube absolutely needs the competition. They're assholes. They're far too censorious, far too quick to knock out your goddamn account for no reason given. That's unacceptable. And I tell you, if they get a serious competition, that won't be as prevalent. Let's just say that. It won't be. And especially if Elon gets in the game, which he's threatening to. He's threatening to have some kind of video service there on X. An all-purpose, hey, let's see. Good night, Jimmy. Take care, man. Be well. Mike says, basically, alternative video platforms have all the refugees from YouTube with spicy opinions. Yeah. By spicy, I mean racist. Yeah. So it spooks normal people. Yeah. Well, I mean, racists, they're idiots, They really are. I mean, racists are stupid people. And I know it's become almost fashionable to say to accept racists. No, there's no reason that you should accept racists at all. They're really stupid people. Judging others on a basis of skin, stupid. It's dumb. Mike says Newgrounds has a toggle for G-rated, teen, mature, and adult. What's Newgrounds? Is that another platform? If YouTube did that, they wouldn't need to censor nor worry about advertisers. Maybe parents would complain, but YouTube would still be the biggest. Mike, the censor control information. Advertisers are an excuse. Mike, they censor to control information. Yeah. Advertisers are an excuse. Yeah, for sure. They hide behind that. There are rats in there, no doubt about it, who just want to fuck around. That's it. That's their thing. D. Oberg says there is a new printing of Born Again Artist Edition coming out to 318. The hardcover is 105 at Cheap Graphic Novels. A new printing, as in the same thing, just it went out of print, so they're printing it again. D. Oberg, because I'm always, if there's something different about it, that'll be awesome too. Because sometimes they add some stuff in there as well. Man, Mike Hunt says, I started using non-photo blue pencil before inking. It's the same. It's a time saver. Yeah, I don't know. I tried. I don't know. I've seen artists use it. I think John Ray Jr. uses it. I think Ethan uses it. I just don't know. I get it, but I don't know, man. I like to see my art. Even when I've seen them like in up close, it has that, I don't know, ephemeral look. It's like it's nothing rock solid on that page. A little weird, to be honest. I just didn't work for me. I like to see some of that line work before I ink it, more so than with a blue pencil. JEC said Rumble is more political stuff. Not sure it's the best place for talking about art. Probably not, JEC. There is that. Not now, at least. Mike said the demand for traditional art will go up as AI art grows. I believe that as well, Mike. And the deal I made with this publisher for my current project is that I retain all the original art. We had to redo the contract for that. I get to retain it all, and I get to sell it as well. It's my raw material, which I like. So yeah, there is that factor about AI art and also digital art. People creating comics on their iPads, on so funny. I'm forgetting these things, but it's just some people can create comic books on their iPads now, literally, from top to bottom, every part of it. Mike says at JC, it's difficult to get people to go there to Rumble. We have the federated internet, but no one is there. Building your own website is something no one does anymore. Is that the case? I got my own for the last couple of years. I like having it. Maybe, guys. Wingazing is my voter store pre-recorded video. Maybe a little more focus on what's happening and what I'm looking at, and maybe. And then you guys maybe do that and then do a follow-up a live follow-up after you guys watch it. We'll go back and forth on what you guys saw. Maybe we can do that. And while we do that, I can show pages of Made Born Again as we discuss it. Certain things you guys point up, I can bring it up if not on the screen. Even though I got my Comixology Kindle, maybe I can do that. But we'll see. John says, Rumble is growing fast. I have a premium membership. They deserve this support. They definitely deserve this support. They've definitely shown that they're not censorious like the rats at YouTube, who can at any moment wipe out years of content on a whim. Unacceptable. and usually give a bullshit reason, usually, or no reason, like me. News. Okay, JEC says Newgrounds is a super old site. Was around before YouTube. Back in the day, it was all funny flash animations. Never heard of it. Interesting. D. Oberg says yes. As far as I know, the new printing is the same. Nothing. Okay. Thanks, D. Oberg. Because yeah, I imagine these things go out of print. I mean, the Batman Year One, from what I gather, it's taken. It's I guess been out of print now and clearly going on the rise in the secondary market. It makes sense. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of work, and very different than Born Again. Even though he did that right after that. He took a little time off, and he decided, I'm going to draw it this way. The finish line will be this way. It'll be different, and it was consistent from page 1 to the last page. The consistency factor was awesome, and I don't mind the difference in art from Born Again from from the first issue to the last. I don't mind it at all. And if you look at it, the first issue to the last actually looks more comparable than the ones in between. The ones in between was when he was really experimenting. But that's what it took for him to go and draw Batman the way he did. In that bold, incredible, simplistic, whiting out the muscles, because he had drawn all the muscles in there and then whited it all out. And he said, okay, I'm going to stick with that. And it's dramatic as hell. And I got to say, at first I was like, what the hell? But I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't, personally, I wouldn't go that simple in terms of it. He actually said he made it look like it's a thick suit. He goes, maybe I regret it. Something like that. He was, going back and forth with himself. He wasn't locked into it. But I prefer that to the Neil Adams. I do. I don't like the Neil Adams Batman. I don't. Way too busy and way too, I don't know, sausage fingers. Batman Odyssey, is that what it was? Horrifically bad. The story, horrific. Art, not that good. Bruce Wayne talking in a back cave with the audience. The hairy chest and the sausage fingers. Very strange. Steve says, Steve 16305 says, drawing by hand is a skill I respect. I have trouble doing stick figures, so AI generated art doesn't interest me. Yeah, I mean, there's something about it. It takes a process, takes years. It's a learned skill, and you can only get better after a time. Wingus Dingus, live follow-up would be cool if you've got the time. Yeah. I mean, I got this project I've been working for the last 2 years. I have the relaunch of Pigman, but I am enjoying this, and I like it. I build my channel. I can get monetized. I can promote my campaign on my own channel. If some of the Kings wanted to have me on, please, I would love that. But I'm not going to lean on them too hard. I know they have their own things as well. I think some people take it for granted. I think some people are nasty about it also. They expect them to do it. Never do that. Ethan is generous. When he has those auction streams, that's a very generous thing, and we should all appreciate it. I'm not sure everyone does. Hours to go through all these artists who will come on there. Hours to go through it. He could just have it on his own, So, I appreciate the hell out of it, so. Mike says to Steve, it's neither AI nor art. Yeah. John Important says, when it comes to his art, Frank Miller has great ideas, but I think there are other artists that could execute those ideas better. Indeed. I don't think he could have drawn The Man Without Fear the way Romita Jr. did. I don't think he could have drawn Born Again the way Mazzucchelli did. Absolutely not, John. But still, I don't think anyone else could have drawn Dark Knight the way he did and what he brought to that. 16-panel grid. Cartoony, great splash pages. It's fantastic. I'm going to go through this, guys, and then I'm going to call it a night. A little over 2 hours, so I don't know how much more we have left. Let's see, actually. Okay. Just about done, actually. About 30. Okay. Galactus, is he looking to the side or is it the white eyes? I can't tell. That's a good Magneto. That was also good, this one here. I think the mask is way too high, though. That part, this part, should be lower. Should be going near his nose. Art says, last time Ethan hosted an auction, it was several hours a day for 4 days. A lot of work. Absolutely right. And I just had to note it, publicly out there. I said, guys, this is really, he's doing us a big favor. His big channel, having us on, he has to go through the whole thing and entertain people at the same time. It's a big deal and shouldn't go unappreciated. This is good too, man. Look at this, guys. Magneto, a lot of work there. Interesting. I wonder what's going on. He's rocking a train tracks, bussing out the nails, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You can put this side to side with that Daredevil Man Without Fear, where Matt has the rags around his head. That's pretty good. I like it. This is a fairly recent one too. He still got it at times. He really does. Corner box was fantastic. I love that. I love his corner box. Yeah, Mike. Ethan is natural. So natural with it. He is. Love this, man. Look at this. I almost guarantee that's John Romita Jr. inked by John Romita. Almost guarantee. Big feet. Yeah. John Romita Sr. all the way. Love the corner boxes. Look at that. That's fantastic. That's very natural, man. Very different, cool looking. Fits perfect in that corner box. Corner box art, man, was an art. Byrne was doing it. I think Byrne changed the corner box for FF so many times, which was awesome. He didn't sit on there. He actually changed it up a lot. Had some of the characters more dominant than the others. Like one of the characters dominant, the others in the background, and so on. Look at this, guys. I mean, that is really fun. Bad color, but Huh. It was interesting, very funny when Romita Jr. drew that Cable series with Fabian Nicieza, if that's how you pronounce it. That's pretty good. This is fairly recent also. A little thinner, but not bad. That's pretty good too. Yeah. Good Thor. Very majestic looking, yeah. I'm rereading, by the way, Ragnarok Simonson. It's great. Great stuff. This was, I believe, Steve Lee Aloha inking Romita on the cover and in the interiors. I think green came on for a few pages near the end, I believe, if I remember correctly. I believe that's the case here. He was an interesting inker. Okay. Check this out, guys. So that was the cover that was published. And they brought it in closer and took out the faces that were going to be there. Xavier, Colossus, Rogue. Interesting. And also, you couldn't really see that there was an explosion there. Okay. Interesting. It just says John Romita Jr. It doesn't say the inker there. Huh. Parker. Funny. John said the humble human Sunbeam seems like a genuine good person. It's irritating to get to see how much crap he gets. I know. He is a good guy, Ethan. He is, and he gets a lot of shit. And I think sometimes he acts in ways to piss off some of the guys. And I don't know. He's a good guy, and I don't think he should do things for effect sometimes, which I think he does do, to piss off the rats. But fuck the rats. Who cares what they think? Ultimately, they can be rats. That's what they are. They should be ignored. But yeah, he gets a lot of shit, and a lot of it's just nasty lies about it. Mike says, back when comic cover had a hook, why is Supergirl turning her ex-boyfriend to stone? Buy it for 2 cents and find out. Right. A little hook. Art says, some people got that carny spirit. Step right up, folks. You've got a fantastic show for you, Stanley, EBS, Brian Polito. It's funny. I don't know. I'm not sure if I've seen Brian Polito. Does he have a channel? Does he do this? I heard for, where was it? Maybe at King's the old day. They said something along the lines of where he was doing, launch a campaign. It was like a lot of people on the phone or something. Like a QVC channel. I don't know. It sounded funny. Mike says, then you throw your old comics into the home incinerator when comics were cheap entertainment. I never did that. I always collected them. Just kept them. And sometimes traded them. And also, every time I move, I ask myself, will I reread these, whether they're books or comics? And it answers itself almost always like, okay, no, yes, definitely, no, and so on. Yes. Dioberg, I did hear about that. He says new issues of Ragnarok stories coming from Act 4 Publishing. Act 4 Publishing, is that a company, or are you saying that Act 4 because it's a fourth part of the Ragnarok series? Or is it named Act 4 Publishing? Regardless, it's awesome. I love it. It's so good to see new work by the master, Simonson, and lettered still by John Workman, who's a fantastic letterer, arguably one of the best ever. Such a powerhouse letterer. Perfect for Simonson. Mike says, post-World War II, Japan was starved for entertainment, so comics exploded there. It was cheap and produced quickly. 15 pages a week on newspaper print. A boxing comic started a revolutionary group in Japan. The comic was called Tomorrow's Joe. Interesting. Act 4 is the company. Okay. Dioberg. I guess that's a different company than had published the first 3 parts. I guess. JEC says Polito mostly sticks to shilling his campaigns on social media. He's really good at it, though. Okay. Art says Brian's launch videos for Coffin Comics are a masterclass in pitching your books. Mike says, name one group that burns books that ever did anyone any harm. I don't know what you mean in terms of one group that burns books that ever did anyone any harm. Well, if you mean that book burning is fine by a group of people to do it, and I don't think it is at all, especially when it's a government. If that's a group, that's horrific. It's terrible. Now, you want to burn your own books that you bought, go for it. But people burning others' books and also government doing it, no. That does hurt. That does harm to society. That does harm to... Now, look at this also. This is a recent cover that John Romita Jr. drew, which I think is fantastic. I mean, this is great. I think the hands on Kingpin would have been a little bigger back in the day, but that's fine. And he should have made this part white because of the light coming on, but with his big belly, but it's still really strong. Look at this. He should be drawing Daredevil with a good writer. He clearly loves the character. His Spider-Man stuff, I would prefer him doing Daredevil right now anyway. I don't like the way he draws Spider-Man now with the big eyes and all that stuff. Yeah, this is just a shot I wanted to show. Wing Instinct says, Workman's stuff is so cool. First guy that really got me interested in lettering. Yeah, so great. Mike says, the right burned Harry Potter books 20 years later. The left burned Harry Potter books. I don't know. Did they? For what? I don't remember that. I must have missed that. What I'm saying here is this. It's not about the right or left. I mean, usually the book burners are the government. Usually, like the guy recently who was killed burning the Quran. That's his act of protest. And I believe it's his Quran. He owns it. And of course, there's no law against it, but all of a sudden there is a law against it, right? No. Anyway, the book burning idea, I think, is rotten. I think. As a protest against evil, sure. Outside of that, I don't think so. The folds on the neck there look great. They do, don't they? This was Dan Green inking John Romita Jr., and it was John Romita Jr. understanding, okay, This is how my dad set it up. I got the line there, I got the line there, line there, and then I don't know if that's Dan Green or Romita, but beautiful. This is brushwork also. You could tell thin, thick, thin, thick, thin, thick. You know, usually can't do that with a pen unless it's one of those softer tips, which has an illusion of a brush. But yeah, Romita Senior. I think we saw one of this. This was from a merchandise short comic. Okay, where you get to cut out the characters and put them on certain scenes. I think that's what it was. This is for a merchandise piece. Art says the left is mad at J.K. Rowling because she won't pretend men can be women, so they hate Harry Potter now. It's so stupid. Any reason they want. Mike says Harry Potter was considered I think meant to say satanic. Then recently Rowling was considered transphobic. JEC says Christians back in the day didn't like Harry Potter because of the witchcraft angle in them. Now the left burns Harry Potter because the author's opinion on trans people. Yeah. Complicated angle on that Spider-Man panel. Yeah. The Hobgoblin had just knocked him out at this one event that the Kingpin was at. He was about to go for the kill. Kingpin threw a pan or some kind of big pan and just, deflected it. And the Hobgoblin was like, who? And then he saw the Kingpin and he was like, oh shit. I didn't know he was part of this thing. So he deferred to the Kingpin. Kingpin said, there's a lot of confusion here. Maybe you should get going. And what the Kingpin also did while Spider-Man was knocked out was took Spider-Man's spider tracer and threw it on the floating thing that the Hobgoblin rides on. Interesting stuff, man. Roger Stern. You know, when you read those comics, guys, when you read them, you knew you were in the hands of masters who were doing a great, great work. You knew it. They were telling really rock solid stories, month in, month out, well done, well drawn on everything. It's awesome. Yeah, I got a few more guys, and that's it. That's a black and white version of that, of the merchandise. Aurora comic scenes. So I guess it was a kit where you got the figures or you cut them out and put them in scenes. I think that's what it was. And this was look at this. He drew this for that kit, for that game. And look at that. It's great work. Classic. As good as any comic he did. He didn't hack it out just because it was for a little kit. Look at this. It's fantastic. Strong stuff, man. Beautiful. John Romita Sr., Captain America. Awesome. Looks a little short there. But it is well drawn. Look at that. That is awesome. That's great. Recent, last year actually. John Reed a little schnauzer, but outside of that, like it's a little too thin. He's got to hit the legs. Another shot of the Marvel tryout book, which was awesome. Look at that, the deep musculature on Peter Parker. Rock solid, built, but not Superman, but just right, just a little under there. Mike says, it's just a fun kid's book. Rowling said you could have predicted the end of Harry Potter if you ever read the Bible. Interesting. Mike says, the old colors ruined the inks, man. What are you referring to, Mike? In the Spider-Man one, you mean? Where it's just, that's red, that's this, that's that, period. Hey, Flatey. No apologies. Glad you're here. I loved the Captain America Skull stories and Tales of Suspense as a kid. Red Skull is a great villain. He's visually stunning. And the movie version was great with Hugo Weaving. He did a great job, even though he lost interest in doing it He goes, oh, I'll never do it again. And then years later, I'd love to do it again. It's like, all right, maybe he's out of work. Who knows? Who knows? But this was Romita Jr.'s pencils, which I may have darkened or it came that way. I don't remember. But look at that. Again, the line work. Look at this, guys. This is like one of the best ones because the tightness of it all is just beautiful to me. And I'm making it bigger on my end. I think I tried it recently. It didn't quite work, but you guys tell me. But look at this, guys. You see the way he does this, the care of the line work. Look at this. That goes from his neck there, there, there. It goes there, there, there. And the nose, the mouth, and then the jaw. Look at that. It's awesome. That circle right there ends up being webs. That circle and this circle. And then look, the cylindrical aspect here on this traps right there. It's awesome. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. And I know that someone would have botched it. I know Al Milgram added some bullshit lines on the first page of that trial book. You know, he just botched it completely. He added some bullshit lines. 89. I guess 89. It's okay. John Romita Sr. Hulk like. Huh. Check this out. I always thought the Hulk should be ape-like, and it's spelled out here. Hulk, 7 feet tall. He's actually 8 feet now, at least in the movies and I think the comics. Hulk, 7 feet tall, 100 pounds, ape-like. Yeah, he should be ape-like. He's the id, you know. You got the long upper lip, short nose. And Romita did one of the better 1970s versions of the Hulk where he had the longer hair and he was stocky as hell. That's really good right there. I mean, that's just a damn good Hulk. Outside of Kirby, I mean, my favorite is Jack Kirby's, period. There's something about that look. It's awesome. And Dale Keown, I think in his first issue, he got to draw the Gray Hulk, but it was emaciated, really skinny. Guys, okay. I think you're not seeing this. Okay. I got to make it smaller. Sorry. Let me know if that was the case. Look at that. It says ape-like. Let's see. Although Slain was fun. Mike says Spawn was groundbreaking for digital color in comics. Color, yeah, I guess so. Because I was right at that cusp, right? Where it was post-Dark Knight Returns. People started messing with color a little more after that. And then the digital stuff came. And I guess is what happened. And then Marvel started doing it. Everyone started doing it. They realized we can't compete with that. Mike says I just love black and white comics. Me too. I like them both. When they're well colored, they're awesome. Wiggins thing is I think that flat colors complement great ink shading perfectly. Yeah. Mike says although Slain was a fully painted comic book, so beautiful. It depends, guys. I mean, you know, black and white can be beautiful or color. It just depends. Does the artist give a damn? Does the colorist give a damn? And so on. You know, Sin City is beautiful as it is. You know, that I have the Ars edition of that. It's beautiful. I got the, it's not an absolute edition, but it's something along those lines for the Sin City for the first one. And I do want to get, if they have it, that Yellow Bastard, if they have it. Because that's, I think, it ends up being my favorite Sin City because it's the only one with a hero. The only one with an actual good guy in a hellhole. And the hellhole that is the town of Sin City. Okay, cool, Flatty, thanks. Okay, good. Because I think I tried the old day and it didn't translate. Mike says, like when Hulk was purple, sometimes gray back in those days. He was a tinge of purplish in there, he was. And Spider-Man suit also. I think in in the one with was it the Vulture or someone? He had like purplish and red. Didn't look good. Mike says Marvel colored the Akira comic and actually did a pretty good job. That's good to know. Because I had Akira in my hands the other day. I was like, okay. I also had a few other things, so I might succumb and maybe try a little manga again. I know you guys recommended a few, but I think that one, I'm going to start with this one and see how it goes. Art says, Bosch, you ever draw Daredevil? I have. I think your take would be interesting. I have drawn Daredevil. And I don't know. I mean, if I look at it, I have a few drawings in my files about it. You tell me. I mean, maybe it's a little Romita, a little Mazzucchelli. Probably. If I were to categorize it. Love the character. I don't get his comics now. I haven't got them for years. Garney did an interesting job also for a while. McFarlane drew an issue of Daredevil where he swiped Mazzucchelli so badly a few times. I was like, God damn it, what a hack. What the hell are you doing? It's so bad. I think he also did that sometimes in Batman Year 2. I was like, but Garney drew an early issue there. And I think he also did one while Lee Weeks was doing it, post Romita Jr. He did another one, I believe, Garney. I think he did 2, Daredevil at least. Garney's really good also. He's really good. A little rough these days with his inks, but he's a damn good storyteller. His Silver Surfer was also good. He tended to lean more towards a Mobius way, but it worked. And it worked, I think, a little more than Mobius because it was a little more like plates of muscles over his body instead of just like little dots that Mobius did, where it looked fleshy almost, Mobius' version, whereas Garney, it looked shiny and majestic. Unlike Ron Lim, who made it way too shiny at times, just way too much. It got away from it, whereas the old guys never really did that, Kirby and Buscema. All right, guys, I'm going to finish up here, and then I'll read a few more. The Akira movie only covers one of 6 of the Akira comics. It's an epic. Mike says. Flavy says, always loved that flat crouch pose for Spidey. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Wingersinger says, this sheet is like every sticker I had on my bedroom wall as a kid. It's so perfect. It's like, it's the perfect version of Spider-Man, like the idealized, The musculature is all there. The line work is perfect. The poses are really good here. That's a very strong pose for Romita. A little more quirky than his normal stuff. Because again, he was a little more stiff compared to Ditko. Ditko was the wildest in terms of poses. The wildest and the best, really. I mean, that's why, if I ever get the chance, I won't. But if I ever get a chance myself, even make it a short, let's say, not sell it because I can't. I don't own the rights, but maybe give it out, give it away. Maybe, what if Romita Sr. inked Ditko while Peter Parker was still, maybe in high school or even college? What would that look like? That could be interesting with the Ditko quirkiness and poses, but with the Romita finish. Pretty wild. That's a good convention sketch. Romita Jr., I think, last year. He does a lot of conventions. The guy's always out there. I like that. Excuse me. Okay. I can't get this thing going, guys. Huh. Something wrong in terms of... Okay, it's back. Sorry. Okay. Is that it? Is that why I can't go further? That's it? Okay, wow. I actually thought it would take longer. I had 30 left at a certain point. Wow. All right, guys. You want to go back and forth for a few? Cool. But I got to get going myself. I got to get some stuff done. It's pretty... This was fun. This sheet... Ironically, Mike says, ironically, the last book... Okay, guys. I'm going to get off this screen. and join you guys here. Okay. Ironically, Mike says, ironically, the last book in Sin City was Favorite, the only guy who wasn't killed by the city. Not sure what you mean there. Are you talking about Sin City, Frank Miller's? Was it the artist guy? I don't know. For me, it was the first one and That Yellow Bastard. Those were the standouts. A Dame to Kill For was pretty good too. Doc Brewski says, I think you'd be a great guest on John Malin's comic review stream. Bosh, he does a comic review stream? Doc Brewski? I've seen some of the stuff that he does, like Post Kings, Kangs. I didn't know he does a comics review stream. I do see the live stuff, and I follow Shane and stuff. I peek in every so often, but I didn't know he does that. I would love, yeah, I mean, that sounds good. I imagine, I know he likes Rob Liefeld. I don't like Rob Liefeld. I think it's, maybe he's loyal to him. Maybe I think, if when I gather, he gave him his first chance, I think. If so, I get it. It's personal, but I wonder what he, I saw him the other day. He was looking through Silvestri, Cyberblade, I forgot what it's called, guys. I'm sorry, I don't know. And he was, I think, criticizing some of the lettering placement, and I think he was right from what I gathered. And there wasn't an invite for Kangs, or else I probably would have, popped in. We'll see. Art says, I'll second that, Doc. Cool. John says, I will always prefer hand-drawn artwork over digital. There's something about it, guys. That raw material. I don't know. I love it. Mike says, manga is a medium rather than a genre. There's a manga about a house cat. There's a manga about Hitler. Yeah, there's a manga about golf. Mike says, Comics Art Fan is a great website. Comics Art Fan? Yes, the original art, Mike. Yes, the original art. It is. You see a lot of stuff. And then you see some stuff, you're like, what the hell? Like Miller has done some commissions. I guess they put him up there. And there's a very strange one where Superman and Batman are crouching as low as they can, and it looks like they're taking super dumps. Like they're trying to out super dump each other. It's a bad drawing, man. I'm like, I don't know if I paid for that. Imagine what the guy paid for that. Imagine what he got. Let's just say I don't think he's pleased. And he has this tendency now to make all his characters crouching and because Miller, you see him, he's jacked up now. And he's like walking around with his shoulder up here, his head tilted. His hip is all jacked up. I think he shattered his hip in New York City walking on the ice when I remember years ago. He's had some health scares. But it's unfortunate he's giving that to his superhero characters. That doesn't really work. Like the Wolverine thing, he's as low as possible on the ground with the stars all over him and even one up his butt. It's like, okay, Frank. Yeah, JEC Hellenbach was the last incident. Yes, it was. The artist with the long hair, the beard, if I remember correctly. Pretty forgettable. I don't remember too much. Doc Brucey says, yes, John does a members only stream that is all comics. Normally going over one book, but it always expands. Very cool. Flatey One says, always a good show, man. Thanks, Flatey. I've learned about the art, artists, and history. It makes me want to read my old Iron Man and discover more in 60s, 80s comics. Yeah, those, I really loved the Michelini and Romita Jr. and Bob Layton, those early ones. Demon in a Bottle, and then he left for about 10 issues. Romita Jr. came back. Those are great. They really were. It was a very mature Stark, even though he had his troubles, he had his demons. It was very mature, Stark. It was very good. And then the one that John Byrne wrote, Armor Wars 2. Very, very cool. Mike says, yeah, Hellenbach, it had the most color, but I hated Sin City colored, but my favorite Sin City story, a happy ending. I guess that did have it, didn't it? JEC Million hates when word balloons don't point to the character's mouth. It drives him nuts. Hey, man. I gotta. I've been doing that on the. Because in my pencils, I lay down all of the lettering. It's a habit of mine because I want to know how much space I'll need. Maybe some other people don't do that. I do that. I write it all out. It can be a little tedious at times, but I want to make sure. And then, because every stage I cut in the writing, and then when I edit, of course, and then when I lay it down, and especially when I lay down the actual lettering, the final lettering, the final stage. That's when I do some nice cutting because it's like, and for this particular project, I will have to get the script copyrighted to do this particular script that I have. So I'll have to do, it'll be tedious, but it'll be worth it because I told myself, look, I'm going to be cutting every process I go through. I have to cut. I don't want to give you the script and that's that. I'm not married to it. I refuse to do that because it's always, you can always improve it. Always as you go through the process. The drawing says more. It's like, oh, okay, I don't need to say that. I can do this and so on. Or you can find a better way to say it and so on. So yeah, I'm making a point also to stretch out that the word balloon. Make sure you know exactly who's talking. It is important, man. It is. I remember one thing though. Speaking of Mark Silvestri, what was it called? That first image book he did. And I gotta say this also. I think Silvestri was the best artist in image at that opening. I think he was the best. He was something about him. You knew he could really draw his ass off and be a little cartoony, really expressive with the characters. Beautiful women. The guys were great looking. The bodies were good. The anatomy and the movement and the way he did it. I thought he was great. Cyberblade, maybe. I don't know. I might be getting it wrong, but the guy with the red suit, I think. But there was one thing. These guys were not ready for prime time when it came to telling stories. Absolutely not. That's why, McFarlane bought those writers. Dave Sim and DeKaiman and Miller and more. And I got to say, I don't remember much difference in terms of the character. It didn't make the character more compelling. It made the writers a little more rich, I guess, at that moment. Because McFarlane was just throwing them however much. I don't know, something ridiculous. But there was a character jumping from a tree, about to get to someone, and literally, I'm not arguing, I'm not exaggerating, maybe 5 or 6 word balloons while he was in the air about to attack the guy. And it was like, you can't do that. My fight scenes that I do, I put very little dialogue. Very little dialogue. Unless if there's action going on, very little dialogue. When there's a moment where the characters are beaten or whatever, this and that, they start talking, different story. When you're in the action and when you're in the act of jumping off a tree and trying to destroy someone, you can't have a dissertation about whatever. It's ridiculous. Doc Brucey says the paper just has a magic to it. As in paper itself, it does. It does. There's a beauty to it that, that feel. It's awesome. And, the ink stage is great for itself, but God damn it, you can't replicate the energy sometimes of the pencils. You just can't. Like John Romita Jr., I've seen some of John Romita Jr., excuse me, I hope I'm saying it clear, guys. John Romita Jr. Some of the original art that he does is really good. A lot of energy there. And by the time it gets on the printed page, sometimes it loses that impact. Whereas Walt is one of the guys who retains all the energy. Whether it's in pencil or not, it doesn't matter. He's as rough with his inks as he is with his pencil roughs. And it works. And it's strong. And it doesn't lose energy. His art is so powerful. I mean, Simonson is just a powerhouse. Always has been. And is even now. I mean, the guy is in his 70s, I believe now. I'm assuming he is. It's incredible. 40 years removed from his Thor stuff, and he's still doing this different version of Thor. But man, wild. Mike Hunt says Frank Miller is in his cubism phase. It's a shit phase, whatever it is. Could be like, I guess, Picasso, but it's bad, man. Art says John also wants more flat speech balloons. Use minimum space to show more art. Flat speech balloons. What do you mean by that? Art. Flat speech balloons. I don't know. Use minimum space to show more art. JEC says Hell and Back was where Miller started going off the rails. I think so. The big feet, the wild lines, and he thought it was being cartoony, but not really. He's not that good of a cartoony guy. He's not. He doesn't have it in him to do that. I think he thinks he does, but he doesn't. Look at Dark Knight 2. Oof. Horrific. If1 says, Doc, yeah, I really miss the old pulp paper. Loved that texture as I read and flipped through the pages. I know it's terrible for preserving the art and can cause detail issues, but I still love it. Yeah, man, because when you get some of that older art in its better quality, you can see the art for the first time almost. D. Oberg says you didn't show any of JR's Kiss pages. I wonder why. So funny. He did that. He did Dazzler. It was like, oof. And the inkers were all wrong. All wrong. Pablo, Marcus, Al something. All wrong for him. The smell was nice too, yeah. It's nothing like also cracking open new prints of your books when they come from the printer. It's awesome. You crack it open. It's awesome. Cyberforce? Okay, I think that's right, JEC. That sounds right. Cyberforce. Mike says, and in school, other kids could draw the speech balloon going right in the character's mouth. It bugged me. Okay. What do you mean literally, when the hook goes right in the mouth? That's ridiculous. A great experimenter and a great letterer was Alex Toth also. He was a great letterer, and people even acknowledged that he was one of the best letterers also. He experimented with those lettering. I mean, you know what? Give me 1 second, guys. I'll show you what I mean. If I can find it right here. 1 second, guys. This is one of the books that I'll be reviewing in my Toth series. This is the creepy and eerie collections of all the Toth work. Look at this, guys. And let me just show you quick. He always experimented with lettering. And this one was very interesting, the way he did it here. Whether, I don't know if he continued it, but it's just really interesting way that he did it. I'd never saw anyone do it before. Also, I've done some stuff in my work, Table for One, and The Infidel, where some reviewers said they never saw that happen before. They never saw, and I don't know. I don't remember anyone doing it before, but like having a panel within a character's body to show what's behind that character. I had Pigman doing that when he's choking one of the Al Qaeda leaders and killing him. Table for One, I did that. I did that with Pigman and Super Jihad also. But check this out, guys. Do you see the little pointers? They're inside the word balloons. Now, whether that, you want to ever do that, but it's just an interesting way to do it, isn't it? Look at this art also, guys. I mean, Archie Goodwin wrote a lot of these. Look at this also. Look at this. Comes to mind the opening of Batman Year One with the detailed train coming in. Look at this, guys. And this was printed this way, the long way. How cool is that? Alex Toth. Look at that guy's face. Look at the shadow. Look at that. How good is that? I mean, it's just, look at this even, just that right there, the door, the guy, the shadow. But I thought that was a really brilliant way of doing that. And then again, check this out. They're square instead of circles. Something to consider as well for certain things. I might even do that ultimately, even though I've been drawn to circles, maybe you could fit more for more text that way. And look at this. There's a lot of text there. And with the circle, you would have to angle it a little more. You would have to try to fit it within that circle, and maybe that's something to think about. I gotta jot that down actually, because look at this art. This guy is dying. He just found out. And look at the body language right there. He's not too pleased with that conversation. He's about to do something clearly here. But again, this look at this also. Just the naturalistic wrinkles in the suit. And again, those were balloons. Interesting. I love it. I really love it. And while I'm here, let me just show you something else. This was from Creepy and Eerie that Toth did. Ditko was also doing a few of these things as well. Look at this. He also inked a few things here that someone else had drawn, and the power is just, it's so strong that it dominates. Whoever drew it, it almost got buried from Toth. But look at this also. The monument. Look at this. Great stuff. But that was an interesting way to do it. And the square ones, part of me is like, you know what? There's a lot of dialogue I have in this project that I've been doing. And that could be a way to fit it more in onto the page. We'll see. We will see. Okay. Answer a few more guys, and I do got to get going. In the school, other kids would draw the speech balloon going right in the character's mouth. Okay. Fleety once said, love Cyberforce. I remember getting it. I just remember that the guy had jumped from a tree and about to take out someone, and he was having a dissertation, an entire paragraphs. It was ridiculous. You know, it was guys who couldn't write trying to, and some of them really shouldn't have. Really shouldn't have. Mike says, did you know Kevin Eastman and Peter had brothers named Peter Eastman and Kevin Laird, who made their own comic called Samurai Horse? That's a joke, but Wingus Dingus, always some sort of cyber blade, blood, sword, kill, death, whatever. LOL. I know. Young blood, cyber, Wildcats. Ugh, that was like the worst name. Wildcats. Oof, that was a terrible name. And I don't remember too much of the comic as well. And again, I just think that Sylvester was probably the best of the artists. Because he had an energy about him. He had a better grasp of anatomy, even more so than Jim Lee, who was stiff and has gotten stiffer with time as well. I don't know. Cold, technical stuff, not a lot of life going on there. Where Silvestri still has. I mean, I looked through that Batman thing. It looked pretty good. It did. Very sketchy, but still pretty good stuff. John says, I hope the campaign allows you to put together the book that Pigman deserves to be. I'm very excited for new people to be introduced to this great story and motivate you to continue on. Thanks, John. I do appreciate it. I love my story. I love Pigman. I love the whole, not the twins, you know, one of them, but there's an ending, and it should be exciting for readers who have already read the older series. But again, it's being relaunched, and I'm going to remaster it, try to make it as good as it can be. Just better than it was. It's been many years now, so. And then by issue 3, if I get there, all new material at that point. And it'll probably end up issue 6. Could be 7, but I think 6. With the added pages. They'll all be pig-sized. Each issue will be 50, 60, 70 issues. I mean, pages. So that's a lot. We will see. Eastman and Laird's Samurai Horse, I guess. I don't know if you're joking, Mike. I think you are, because it sounds ridiculous. Doc Brewski says flat top balloons. What do you mean, Doc Brewski? Flat top balloons. Now, I was learning digital when I did Pigman 3, and I didn't know how to put the word balloons in the corner of the box, so give a little more space. I put the full thing. I know how to do it now, but that was years ago. So, we'll see. JEC says Dark Knight 2 is when Miller went completely off the rails. He did. And I believe, from what he's talking about now, drinking problems, yeah. I called him Drank Miller. I think when I found out, it was like, wow. You know what? I'm going to show something about that. You know, you can't go from the epic quality that Dark Knight was with those splash pages, which were wonderful, and most of it was drawn well. Some of it, you know, he started to deteriorate a little here and there, but by the fourth issue, the story was so strong that it was like, okay, you know what? Art might not be as good, but look at this, guys. Let me just show you. It's impossible that... I imagine that... Check this out also. This is something that I saw years ago, which would really impress me. This was a potential cover for Dark Knight. It's Batman on top of this, I guess, eagle, like a statue, and the lettering. It's interesting, isn't it? Look at that. That's pretty awesome. This was the Absolute Edition. Unfortunately, you're stuck with goddamn Dark Knight 2 in here. Oof. But let me show you something quick. Okay, so you had a 16-panel grid for the Dark Knight Returns, and it worked. I'm using that for the setup here. I think it works for the current project I'm doing. And of course, some of those panels end up being 2 across the whole page and so on, across the top, the bottom, and so on. But here, all of a sudden, he goes from this in Dark Knight 2 to this. It's the first time he did it in the entire book. I mean, and look at the teeth on Batman. Look at the face on Batman. Look at this, guys. Look at that. That's Batman. You can say, well, yeah, he was getting tortured. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Look at this, guys. Look at Superman and look at Batman. Look at that. And look at this. That's a guy who, you know, at one point he was like, guys, you're going to publish anything I do? I still got my name. Why haven't we seen another Dark Knight? He was supposed to do a 4th one, remember that? Why do you think we haven't seen it? Anyway. Okay, I'll go through a few more guys and then... Joe Porter says, I know quality costs money, LOL. Dark Knight 3 is art. Dark Knight 3 was better than Dark Knight 2. Kubert, one of the Kubert brothers did the art. Klaus Janson was back. And it had moments, it had some scenes which were pretty good. Superman was given a little more respect than Miller usually gave. Some elements of the story were clearly better than part 2, so I'll say that. Plan to reread it because I remember some good stuff in there. Art says, flat top or bottom, have the bubble cut off by the top or bottom of the page. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Lady one says, perhaps doing a deep dive on your favorite inker, colorists, and lettered and writers, like a Bosch toss pick in each color. Maybe. You know, there were a number of them. I also like Kevin McGuire, who did the Justice League and who did that Captain America thing with Fabian Nicieza. I forgot. So funny. It's a really jacked up name on in print. And imagine, I don't know. I think someone said it recently. His name. I just didn't remember. But he had his moments also. Interesting stuff. Very unique. Expression was his thing. I think who was doing the layouts for that? Someone else was doing the layouts for that, and he was just drawing the finished pencils. Kevin, someone, maybe Flady. A lot of stuff to go through. I got a lot of books. The Darwin Cook books also. Mainly the Parker crime novels. Mainly those. I think it's the best work, hands down. His superhero stuff, too cutesy. Way too cutesy. Superman has a round basketball head a lot of times, no chin, wide head. Batman is also the same thing, with the strange ears on his side. He's trying to do the old classic. I get it. Well, his Wonder Woman is bigger than Superman. The Flash looks like a kid, even though he's a grown man. But the Parker novels, the adaptations were really good. They were really good. Yeah, JEC, love the folds Toth did in that suit jacket. Kind of looks like Sin City in black and white. But Toth, was so much better as a draftsman than Miller. He just was. Wingus Dingus, I think I've seen some manga do those inside pointer balloons. I doubt they have anything to do with each other, though. Mike says that's Toth. The EC book, this one. This is Toth. This one that I showed before, yeah. That's Toth. Daddy and the Pie. Look at this. Beautiful. Mike says an effeminate character could speak in cursive script. Dave Mazzucchelli gave each character in Asterios Polyp their own individual font and shape and word balloon shape. Each one. And there were a number of characters. There were a few main characters, but then there was also just passerbys. And he made every single one unique. That's awesome. That's brilliant. And it's all readable, Wingus says to Mike, and then have Pigman speaking in big block letters, right? Doc Brewski says, John likes when the word balloons are flat topped at the top of the panel. I think I know what you're talking about. So you know what? Let me just jot it here. If I get your meaning, just make sure. You do mean this, don't you? You do mean that? And bottom and side and so on. That is the best way to do it. Save space, show more of the art. Don't get in the way of the art if you don't have to. Lettering, Wingus thing is lettering in perspective like that is always cool to see. I don't know what you're referring to, Wingus Dingus, but Mike says, oh, wait, it was called Horse Ninja. I looked it up, apparently. Yeah, I think you're maybe drinking, Mike, or something. Yeah. Enjoy yourself, but, lose me here. JEC says, I liked your video going through Miller's Holy Terror. Maybe a video on Dark Knight 2 would be good, too. I don't think so, JEC. It's a horrific piece of work. It'll just be me. But I will say this. When I first got that thing, I think I was so excited to get it that I read it pretty quickly. And I was excited to continue the adventures of that world, of that particular world, Dark Knight. It appealed to me, and the story was good. At least I believed. And until I stepped back and took a look at it, I was like, oof. But it's still the better of all the other issues. With the Atom, it was pretty interesting. In that Petri dish, Carrie Kelly coming in there. Bruce Wayne not being shown at all throughout the entire issue until the end. Interesting. Art says, we still like you, Mike. Yeah, keep drinking, Mike, but maybe get off the chat for now. Enjoy yourself. Doc Brewski. Yep. Okay, cool. That's the one you're talking about. Yeah, exactly. And again, I didn't do that because I didn't know how to do that. It was my first time doing digital inks, but digital lettering. Believe me, I was married to the idea. I'm going to do handwritten letters, and I'm going to yeah. And I got to say, after a few hours of doing it, your joints are hurting, your muscles are hurting, your hands are hurting. It's like I can get a more consistent line, do it better digitally. Okay. And then I'm going to, of course, do the top off and the side and the bottom. Save more space. Don't get in the way with art if you don't need to. And part of me is like, that square thing that Toto was doing could be good. It could be good, especially for the amount of dialogue that I have. I'll be cutting, but it's a lot. Art says, drives John nuts when they use full bubbles instead of flat top or bottom them. Yeah. I mean, so then, that's a thing where I think I could do that, redo that for the Pigman stuff. Even though the first two issues were hand lettered. Table Form was all hand lettered. First two issues of Pigman were hand lettered. Third one was, first two issues were hand lettered. Issue 2 in the print version, I digitally lettered a few pages that I thought I really needed to. And then I'll see what happens. That could be part of the work I'll have to do to make it better. It'll be a good video because it just happened. I don't know, JAC. It'd be a good video because it just might be you ripping it apart. It will be. That's a problem. I don't want to just do that. There was some virtue in Holy Terror because it's a fact that this, iconic cartoonist is out there taking on this real world threat that he would get a lot of bullshit for, a lot of pushback and threats. So there was a virtue in that, even though the execution was not good. It was not good. It doesn't hold up as a story. It's the balls of it that you have to respect, and then not enough balls. It's like, okay, you're taking on Al Qaeda. Are you taking on the ideology that motivates them? No? Okay. What the hell is this? And so on. But this was just an absolute mess. I don't know. Money grab. Varley was doing her computer coloring, which was horrific. I don't know what she was thinking. She clearly didn't know how to do it. It was literal pixels in her color on the page. Mike says, gun fact, I've only been kicked out of clubs when sober. The problem is I'm not drinking. Oof, that's a problem, Mike. That's a problem, Mike. Don't drink and draw. Look at what happened to Miller. Dark Knight 2, at least. If not the Sin City, the last one, and so on. Who knows? Wingus thing is hand lettering is a great way to build control in your fingers. It is. There's an art to it. I hand lettered a few hundred pages, and I hand letter every single. I take my script, and when I design the page, when I compose a page, I always put the words in. I have to know if they're going to fit. Hand lettering looks kind of fun. It's tedious and physically tough at times, I gotta say. Wiggins says it is absolutely not fun besides sound effects. Yeah, that's fun. It's because that's when we get a little more art in there. Mike says a T-square and those round things are good for lettering. I think they're called a letter guide. Yeah, I used what I used was a copy, a photostat on a plastic sheet of paper, got the line work for your average typical comic, and used it in a light box to put the lines in, and then I did it. Instead of designing it, instead of doing it all, the long Ames lettering guide, yeah. Instead of using that, it went a little faster, but again, to keep the consistency for hours and do it really right, it's tough. And I'm not going to go back. And I'll do, I'll do some lettering sometimes, hand lettering, absolutely. But in terms of a full comic book, no. And I want it to be also far more readable that way. And it is, because it's a consistency factor. You don't want to get in the way of the reader reading the book. You don't want them to blink or squint or no. Just read it. That's it. Be immersed and stay there. Don't give the reader any reason to check out. Or says, I think it could be a kind of Zen relaxation in a tedium. Yeah, but the physical toll after hours and hours of doing it, sometimes an entire day, it's tough. I mean, literally, you get physically spent. Because you're not only just doing letters, but you're tensing up, naturally. It's like you're tensing up because you want to make sure it's a certain way, and then you realize you're tensing up and you try to get looser and so on. It's a physical battle. It really is. Guys, take care. Always a pleasure. Thanks for the give and take. Thanks for being here. Always appreciate it. And until next time, guys, take care. Be well. Take care.